Hello, everybody. Pop culture curator here, and unless I'm mistaken, excuse me, today is Wednesday, which means it's time for another double episode of Gilligan's Island. And the first thing I want to do is say hello to everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you are, what day it is. I know some people are Wednesday, for some people it's Thursday. Oh, and I'm still kind of catching up here, so I'm dropping the links here on Twitter for those that would like to join us. I will put a link to the panel if you have a good net connection. And I iterate, if you have a good net connection. So I just, oops, did that twice, made a mistake there, bear with me. And I put a poll in the chat if you'd like to, if you feel up to it and vote on the two episodes we're going to cover today and tell us what you think. You can vote on what you think of the episode or how we covered the episode. It's totally up to you. If you're listening to this on the rerun, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you hit the like button. Perhaps if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. And maybe hit, and I try not to repeat myself here. First thing I want to do is I know there's people will be running about 7 to 10 minutes a little late today. It seems like I've had a lot of delays the last couple of days. And I don't like keeping you guys waiting because you're very kind and gracious. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat, and I will be reading the chat. First, I want to say hello to my fellow panelist, Gorillas Random Thoughts. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing all right. It's been kind of a relaxing week, though with the supervisor gone, so.
Oh, that's always a good thing when the boss is gone. What's the old saying? When the mice are away, when the cat's away, the mice shall play, right?
No,
I know it's not play, but yeah.
Well, yeah. So.
No, I know the feeling. I remember having jobs where people liked to swing shift and grave shift because they didn't have to be around the bosses. So yeah, I know the feeling. Definitely been there. Did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I'm saving my comments for the episodes there. There's a few things I wanted to go over on the episodes there.
Beautiful.
But anyhow, we welcome the Phantom Boomer Explorers. He says, "Hola, Pop."
And hail, hola, Phantom Boomer.
Hola. And Suzanne says, "Hello, Pop."
Suzanne, it is so good to see you. I hope you're doing well, and I'm glad you guys are able to join me again for tonight.
Yeah,
I'm really proud of you, Suzanne. By the way, that's very brave, and it's hard work raising a child by yourself. So, kudos to you, and I want to shout out for you.
Yeah,
go ahead,
and Pop is throwing some hail at Phantom there. Now we just question how big the hail is.
Very big hail to Phantom Boomer.
Yeah, we'll give you we'll throw the hail that was over in Vivian, South Dakota about 13 years ago.
Just don't aim for the face.
Yeah, did you see that hail?
No, I haven't heard. I'm sorry, I've been kind of out of touch. I've been busy lately. What happened?
Well, in Vivian, South Dakota, and in the June, I can't remember when it was exactly, but 2010. Do you know how big a volleyball is?
Yeah.
That's how big the hail was.
Oh no, that must have caused a lot of damage. Did anybody get hurt?
I don't know if anybody got hurt, but I seen the pictures, and they're measuring hailstones up to 8.5 inches.
I mean, that's big enough to put a hole through your roof.
Well, baseball hail will put a hole in your roof.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. But I mean, it's like, geez. Yeah. Nobody's prepared for that, obviously, and roofs aren't, that structurally sound unless it's made out of concrete or something.
Yeah, this was one of those freak storms, and the largest hailstones ever on record were there. And Suzanne says, "Yeah." And Suzanne says, "Hello, Pop." And Suzanne says,
"Hello, Suzanne."
And welcome, Jim's Landscaping LLC. Welcome. He says, "Hello."
Hello, Jim. So good to see you again. And of course, now my phone's ringing. I'm going to have to mute. It's the doctor. I'll be right back.
Yeah. And Pop, thanks. I'll be leaving after the stream. The drama being caused is insane and using my name to orchestrate the discontent isn't right, and you don't need to hassle them coming after you because I'm. No, Suzanne, don't blame yourself. Don't. There, there's one of those. Well, we just didn't shut it down. The next time it happens, we'll just shut it down right away. Wait, don't blame yourself for that one. That one there. We just gotta be more attentive and put a stop to it right away before it escalates like it did there. And Jim's Landscaping LLC gives us a Frankie repair video, which was kind of humorous. I will say that. So I was listening to it while I was at work there. And Jim is throwing hail at Suzanne. So, yeah, well, Pop's muted there. I gotta say, I like the first one there, but better the mind reading one. Well, or the Seer Gilligan, where the premise of the episode is Gilligan finds these seeds that were thought to be extinct that helps them read minds there. Suzanne, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you change your mind. We all know we hate the drama and that. I hope you can change that there. We just gotta be more attentive to it and got and some of our streams we gotta put our foots down.
There we go. Sorry about that. I had a phone call because my ride's confirming for tomorrow. Got another appointment. You know how that is.
Yeah. So
I guess you were telling them about last night or talking about it.
Well, here's Suzanne's. Here's Suzanne's here.
All right, Pop. Thanks. I'll be leaving after this stream. The drama being caused is insane, and using my name to orchestrate the discontent isn't right, and you don't need the hassle of them coming after you because. Wait. Well, Suzanne, first of all and foremost, I apologize. I hope it didn't seem like we were using your name in a negative way here. I was trying to be basically like a referee last night, 2 weeks in a row, and Gorilla and I were speaking exactly about this before the stream, and that's why I was speaking to him. And I'm going to talk to Nemesis as well about a way of reining this in and trying to keep people where it doesn't happen. And I definitely will not accept anybody targeting anybody. It doesn't matter if it's on the panel or in the chat. So please don't leave on my behalf. And you're always welcome here. But I know there's a lot of negativity out there, but the whole point is with my channel is I don't care what people think or what they have about somebody else's. I just don't want them bringing it to my channel. This is a neutral area. But I do apologize, Suzanne. I know last night was rough. Like I said, Gorilla and I was talking about it before the stream. That's why we started the stream 7 minutes late. So I do apologize for that.
Then she says, poor Vic had an explosion stream. I'm not sure I know who Vic is.
I don't know who Vic is.
And it carried on into today. Poor Dillard had a crazy stream, and now Vic had a terrible time tonight as well.
I don't know what's going on. Why people have to bring negativity to YouTube? Everybody are such nice people. I don't get it. But I can guarantee you, Suzanne, you'll always be treated with the utmost respect on my stream and on my channel, and you're always welcome here. Sorry, go ahead, Gorilla.
I think that one guy had some truth into what he's saying. Too many people have had the luxury of running their mouth and not getting their ass whooped for it.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, we were talking about that as well. There were a lot of people talking over each other last night, and it was like,
I know. I've been getting that problem too. And welcome, Nemesis of Eden. He says, "Hey, Pop Pickerel, hope you're all doing well."
Nemesis, good to see you, Nemesis. I hope you just heard what I said, but I'm going to get Nemesis. First thing is I want to apologize for last night because you and me are supposed to be the hosts of the stream, and it seems like, including Gorilla, we had the least opportunity to talk last night. It seemed like everybody was talking over everybody. So behind the scenes, after not necessarily after the stream, but Nemesis, I do want to talk to you about what happened. And I was talking to Gorilla before the stream tonight. I'm trying to resolve the issue so it doesn't happen anymore. I don't want anyone to feel left out. I want everyone to feel respected and feel that they were given an equal opportunity to talk. Especially, I guess the host should be able to, right? I know we have a lot to share about the movie, about info, trivia, behind the scenes stuff, and I know we never got a lot of the things I wanted to bring to the table. I never got a chance to say, and I know you didn't either. So that's what I'm balancing out. I'm thinking, did I have too many cooks in the kitchen? Do I need to be more stricter on people talking over each other? Stricter on people going off topic and things like that. But I without going on and on right now, my apologies, Nemesis. And I'm really sorry about that. And I'm definitely working on it where it's not going to happen again.
All right.
Thank you, Nemesis.
Yeah, he said blue moon, in fact. And Suzanne said this all started because I asked an honest question about how Hargrave got struck. It didn't make sense to me that a movie review channel got hit. Then I told
Suzanne, I'm sorry, is Hargrave a YouTuber? Or go ahead, Gorilla, sorry.
Yeah. Then she says, then I told Captain Finity that Hargrave made an age limit warning for his channel so there would be no trouble. Told Finity that Hargrave said some jerk English guy was causing trouble. It went to Jack taking it a whole different way. Now I'm a spy in the leper. Oh, yeah.
Well, we know that's not true, Suzanne. You're not a spy, and you do not have leprosy. So, no, do not take that personally for what somebody's doing or saying on YouTube. Because, like I said a few minutes ago, I'm not going to call names, and I don't even know who these people are. But some people they're just not as polite as they should be or respectful as they should be. So I'm really sorry about this, Suzanne. There's plenty of other polite, nice people out there. So don't take it personally, and don't stop coming to streams because of those people. Because I've had people that have been jerks to me, and I just simply don't associate with them. If they are, I don't go to their channels or streams anymore. But you're always welcome here, and I promise you'll always be treated with the utmost respect on my channel. Go ahead, Gorilla. I'm sorry this whole thing started out with an apology to her. But I wanted to cover it because there was a lot of you guys here that were there last night, and I wanted to make sure I got this out in the open so you guys.
Nemesis says no apologies needed, Pop. It was not your fault what happened last night. I fully agree. We could definitely talk about it. Last night was too much. We needed to be able to host.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I agree. So yeah, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna bring it. I don't want to be rude to anybody. I want to treat everybody equally, give everybody the same amount of time. But the hosts need to be the hosts. And I need to start, I hate using the term, but putting my foot down and being a little more stricter. I just hope it, like I was telling Gorilla before the stream, I hope it doesn't come to the point where I have to start muting people or kicking them off the panel. I never wanted to do that to anybody. But so what I do when it happens is I'm talking to these people. Like after last night, I'm speaking to the individuals separately involved. I'm not going to. I don't put them on blast here on the panel in front of everybody. That's one thing I won't do. So I'm working on it, Nemesis, and thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Suzanne says no apologies needed from you guys. Well, Suzanne, and I'm gonna have to. I'm starting to do that on my channel. There where if someone starts assaulting people, I'm starting to put my foot down. But I always like my channel there. I wanted to have it where the only rule I wanted was that don't say anything that get my channel struck, and if you do, at least make it memorable. So I'm laughing about it as I'm sitting out, but I'm realizing I got to have some rules if I do bigger panels. But the good thing is it's usually mostly just me and Germ like on Wednesdays, and then a couple other people are starting to come in too now. So, but Phantom Boomer says, hello, Suzanne XC. Told you Pop was a cool dude. And Phantom Boomer says, hi to Pop and Gorilla.
Likewise, Phantom Boomer. And we have a special guest tonight, everybody.
Hello
welcome,
there.
Captain. Good to see you, Captain. How are you feeling?
I'm good, thank you. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I guarantee you 100% tonight is going to go much smoother and more respectful than what happened last night. That's what we've been discussing. Is that I'm gonna have to rein it in. It just kind of got out of control there a few times, and I just don't want that to happen to anybody. I don't want anyone to feel singled out, insulted, or disrespected.
It's a thankless task being the host, I tells you, Pops.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up that easily. I'll bring it in. I guarantee you. I promise. I will fix it. It's a leak, and I'm going to put a stop to it. Go ahead, Gorilla.
Nemesis says people need to respect the host and co-host. Respect them, and they go both ways. Yep.
Amen.
Suzanne says, Phantom, I know that's why I was leaving and doesn't need the shit show that's coming. Yeah. Captain Infinity, hello, and she is throwing hail at you.
Hello, Suzanne. Ouch.
And we got a Twitch viewer here, and Dig says, "Hey, what's up, G?"
Hey, good to see you there. I'm glad you could join us. Welcome. I hope you enjoy. I know this is supposed to be a Gilligan's Island stream, so sorry about you're probably saying, what are these guys talking about? We're just kind of tying up some loose ends on about my stream last night. But welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy it and have a good time tonight.
Alrighty, should we get this started?
Yes, we should. Without further ado, since it's almost 25 minutes late and 2 days in a row we've been late, 3 days. I'm losing count.
It would be a pop. It wouldn't be a pop stream if we didn't start talking about the show 20 minutes after we start.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Every channel is known for something. Here, Jill's notorious for being. She says 12. She's gonna be 12:15 because it's mic issues or something. Question Trek. They're notorious for being 15 minutes late because they spend too much time talking in the backstage and then they forget to start the show. Us, we'll sit there and talk, and then be like, "Oh, should we start the review?"
I know, yeah, and I'm guilty as charged. I've done that myself, and it's like, yeah, I apologize.
No,
I know I apologize a lot, but it does happen.
That's nothing to get apologized for. We were reading the chat, and we were just addressing some issues we had last night.
Yeah, and we have everything under control. It's nothing that can't be fixed.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, you're getting that set up.
Using double negatives.
So, while you're getting that set up, Nemesis says it's important to talk to the chat first, then get into it. Yep. Then Mikey says, "Hey, Pop, Gorilla, and Captain Finicky."
Hey, Mikey, good to see you.
That.
Yeah. Then he says, "Hello, Nemesis, Phantom, and Miss X team." And Nemesis says, "Pop, you apologize more than me, and I'm a Canadian." Oh. Hey, do I have to invoke rule number 6?
What's that?
It's Gibbs' rules number 6. Don't apologize.
I'm sorry for being sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if you watch NCIS, but he has a set of rules and all that. Like one of them is, if you're gonna lie, be specific.
Right. And also have a very good memory. That's why I don't lie, because I don't have a good enough memory.
Or don't trust lawyers, or always carry a knife.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
And Nemesis says, "Hey, Mikey, and welcome, LDG."
Hello, LDG.
Pickle.
Good to see you there, LDG.
Well, I see you still have internet. Is your house still standing? You're not sitting on the top of the rubble heaps waving at us, right?
Wait, what happened in Florida? I didn't hear about this.
Hurricane Ida made landfall of the Cat 4.
Oh, well, sorry to hear that. I hope everything's okay, LDG.
Yeah, I think it hit more up by the Tampa Bay area there. I can't remember the island they officially made landfall, but it landed up more like by Tallahassee and Tampa Bay.
Well, too bad I wasn't focused on Disney World.
Well, that's where LDG lives. He's close to Disney World.
Oh, well, no offense against LDG. It's just that I'm not a fan of Disney.
You just hope that a tornado came down, took out Disney World, and got sucked right back up. And Mikey says, "Hey, Joe."
I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding.
Yeah, welcome, Scurvy. Welcome.
Hello, Lemon Pie. So good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good to see you guys again. It makes me feel so much better.
Yeah, here's some guy named Nemesis Channel. I mean, he sat there and did what 5,346 videos on classic cars at a car show.
Nah. By the way, and I want to recommend you if you're into classic cars. He's got some great shorts out there, or I guess they're a little longer, but beautiful, beautiful cars that are restored that look magnificent. Oh my God, I'm jealous. I wish I would have been there. So
Yeah.
definitely recommend. I recommend him as the Beans channel, everybody. Among other things that he does there.
And Scurvy says hello, everyone. And Mikey says
Lemon
hello.
pie.
And Nemesis says that's not a knife, that's a spoon.
And of course, Gorilla, I remembered what I was going to ask you before the stream. I told you I'd remember when I least expected it, but I'll ask you later.
Okay. And Scurvy says, I see you played Knifey Spoody before, Nemesis. I played that knife game there, about lost a toe. And then Mikey says, LOL, a QE quoting Croc Dundee there in Aussie, LOL.
Actually, you could combine it with a matrix. That's not a knife. That's a spoon. There is no spoon.
Yeah. Higher than Tampa, mainly hit the panhandle. I thought Tampa was in the panhandle. And he's got nothing serious.
All right, good. As long as it's not in your area. I'm glad to hear that, LDG.
And Nemesis is apparently shooting Scurvy. And Nemesis, I sure have Scurvy.
All right, I will mention. Thank you, and I will mention I had lemon meringue pie today for lunch. Oh, I love it. It's one of my favorites.
Too many jokes.
Yeah. And this is why Nemesis will survive the AI apocalypse, because he thinks the AI, versus me, where ChatGPT tells me I should go get a therapist.
And I do sometimes. I'm guilty of. I do see a few bad things about Stream Elements sometimes when it doesn't do its job.
Oh, I had ChatGPT tell me I need to go find a therapist.
Sounds like ChatGPT needs to be deleted. I think people rely on that garbage. Well, I don't want to insult anybody, but I think people rely on it too much.
Well, I was just having fun with it. That I told him to go take a toaster bath.
There you go. Okay, so once again, welcome everybody in the chat, and welcome to everybody on the panel. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the intro to our first episode here, and this is our Gilligan's Island stream, and I just as a reminder, I'm going to try to keep it relatively brief because poor Gorilla has to work in the morning, and he's 2 hours ahead of me, so it's already 9:30 p.m. for him. So we'll get this through rather briskly, I promise. The first episode we're going to be covering tonight is called Seer Gilligan, and it originally aired on January 27th, 1966. And the description is as follows. Gilligan finds sunflower seeds on the island that gives him the ability to read minds. And when the fellow castaways find out, they want in on the action. All right, so let me get that pulled up. And I should have the subtitles all set. Here we go. And then, like I said, I apologize that I cannot play the theme and the intro, which is tragic because it's so fantastic. But I'm sure it's nothing none of you haven't seen before. And there we go with our introduction and our beginning. I got to be really, really very careful on the clips because CBS is terrible with their warnings, threats, and copyrights and all that. So we'll get through this as best we can, everybody. And as a reminder, I have to go use slides. So we're gonna unfortunately miss some of the jokes, and there'll be kind of things might be a little incoherent. So I highly recommend you watching this on your own if you have not seen it, or if it's been a long time, I recommend watching it again.
Yeah. All right.
Go for it.
Yeah, apparently, he's gonna build a bird nest here, but when we're getting to the scene here, it's gonna be like a couple seconds here where Gilligan's reading Skipper's mind and all that by telling him where the professor is and stuff. But at first I was thinking, oh, they just been together so much, they already know what people are thinking. Like when me and Sammy were working together, especially we're working a really busy holiday, and I and we're supposed to have a third dishwasher, but as soon as I seen who it was, I told might as well just give them to either put them here. They could use them in the kitchen there. There, me and Sammy got this, or either that. I told them might as well just keep them at home because at least then I wouldn't be expecting any help. But anyhow, me and Sammy have worked together so much and we've been around each other so much.
Yeah.
We can seriously we're reaching around each other and doing our stuff and grabbing stuff. We can reach around and do everything that the other person was needing to be done without even touching each other or brushing up against each other. Not saying I didn't think about it, but it'd be pure accident, you know. But no, but that's a different story. But anyhow, if you're around someone enough, you can know what they're thinking and you can already predict what they're gonna say or what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
So
kind of like a married couple. That they tend to do that a lot too when they've been around each other a long time. But as they say, good minds or smart minds. What's exactly the term? Think alike.
good minds think alike, or great minds think alike.
Great
Great
minds.
minds think alike, but fools never differ.
That is a good point. So here we have Gilligan. It looks like he's got a nest up in the tree with some baby birds in it, and he's planning on building a birdhouse for them.
With an extra, and then he's gonna have to add an extra room.
Right, and then he realizes there's one more than he thought, so it's time for another bedroom.
All right, let's. We got quite a bit of chat here.
Oh, thank you, Gorilla.
So Mikey says Pop had lemon or scurvy for lunch. LOL.
That's right. Sorry about that, Lemon.
Yeah. Hey, when Pop's hungry, stay out of his way, or you might get eaten.
Well, it's not very often you can get lemon meringue pie. I was at the hospital, and they gave me a menu because I was there for lunch, and I was like, oh my God, there's lemon meringue pie on here. So, yeah, I had to grab it.
Yeah. And Scurvy here says Nemesis is drawing on me. The Mikey has his caps locks on. He says Ari voted for Seer Gilligan. A hilarious and thoughtful episode.
Thank you, Mikey. And I agree, it is a good episode.
And Scurvy says Seer Gilligan. Did they solve their food problem?
Ouch.
And Mikey says, "LL, Cannibalistic Island. Sing that dude."
Oh, I wanted to bring up something before I forget. I was told after the fact last night, I guess there was a part of the stream where my avatar wasn't working, where they said there was a black X, or I don't know if it was that, or the default avatar where it's the white circle. But if you guys ever noticed anything like that with my avatar or audio issues or anything like that, please let me know immediately and I will correct it. So I hope that wasn't an inconvenience for anyone.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And Nemesis says, "Why are we hearing about gorillas reach arounds?" Hey,
For the record, I avoided the reach around joke.
Hey, I would have been disappointed if someone didn't make the joke. No, I'm just saying when you work around each other, like me and Sammy there, I've worked around her so much there that we could just basically we were like machines working together without actually touching each other or getting in each other's way. That's all I'm saying. And
excellent.
Mikey says, Nemesis, he's a huge ape. Mikey, I take offense to that. Let him play, LOL. Mikey, just for that, I'm gonna find. I got a net. All right, I might have to for cringe stock number 4. I got another special treat for you. You're not gonna have the luxury of that one woman saving the show.
Okay.
I got something special. I've been saving. I thought maybe Scream Queens would get you. I got something very special.
All right, sounds good. So here's where we have where looks like Gilligan is doing some work, obviously building the birdhouse. And the skipper comes, and the skipper's getting ready to ask a question. And Gilligan basically blurts out, "See, where's the professor?" Before Skipper says it, and then Skipper says, "Have you seen?" And then asking him about the birdhouse. Oh, is that where he is? Oh, and then Skipper's starting to realize that Gilligan is answering the questions before he even asks him. Say, what are you building? And this is when he realizes it. What am I building? You just asked me, says Gilligan. I was going to ask you, but you told me before I asked you, says Skipper. In fact, you told me about where the professor was before I did ask you. Because Skipper did ask about the professor, but unfortunately I missed it because of the slides. And he says, maybe you read your mind. He says, oh, don't be silly. I can't read your mind. How can you tell what I'm thinking? And sorry, Gorilla, go ahead.
No,
I was confused why they had the interlude with the tree. When I didn't realize watching this because I just watched these before the stream tonight, and it's a technical thing that kind of threw me off because I'm like, okay, they're having a discussion, shows the interlude of the tree in the lagoon, and then come back to the same discussion. Usually they have an interlude when time passes, or like the next day or later that night. I don't know. Sorry, it's a nitpicking thing, but it kind of threw me off. That's why there was a delay.
I
So
thought
they're
it was
continuing.
I thought it was a commercial break.
It could have been a commercial break. Yeah, you're right. Without the fading in and out, watching this, on television or something, it's kind of hard to tell when there's a commercial break. So you're probably right. Thank you. So they're continuing the conversation. Skipper's confused because Gilligan seems to be answering the questions before they're even asked. Don't be silly. I can't read your mind, says Gilligan. And he says, I'll try and think of something, says Skipper. And Gilligan immediately says that fourth piece of coconut cream pie that you had last night. I'll fill in the rest. And he says, that's right, Gilligan. And he's surprised, of course. And he's trying to figure out how Gilligan's doing this. And he says, I just don't know how. Oh, I know how, says Gilligan. Now, just a minute. I just gave you a... Oh, this is why I hate having to...
Yeah, because his stomach grumbled.
Right, the stomach... Yeah, I know. And I wish I could show all the dialogue. That's just it. When we skip dialogue, this is not going to make any sense to the people that are listening to us right now. They're going to be like, what is this guy saying?
No, we already alliterated. We can't read all the dialogue because that's CBS.
I know. CBS is really, really bad.
I won't actually swear and say what I'm really thinking about him on Gilligan's Island.
So
they're the worst ones.
They are. And so Skipper thinks that Gilligan has a trick up his sleeve, that he's doing something. So he says, okay, keep your eyes open this time if you want. So he's telling him that he's going to close his eyes and see if he can still read his mind. And Gilligan, he asks him a question, and of course he reads his mind, and he said, and Skipper's confused and says, oh, it's a trick of some sort. He says, Gilligan, this time you keep your eyes closed, and I'll keep my eyes open. And think of something that I haven't thought about in a long time. And Gilligan says, you're thinking about a hula dancer in a grass skirt.
Who wouldn't
and he
be?
Says, well, yeah, exactly, right?
He says,
well, they've got two beautiful ones right there on the island, when you think about it.
I was laughing so hard when they cut the joke off, and all we get you think about this hula girl with the grass skirt. I get the point. I was laughing hard at that.
Yeah, I enjoy it too because it's a great way of making a good joke during family hour because we know how strict the censors were back then. So it's a great way of leading into a joke without actually having to offend the censors or little kids, I guess.
Yeah. All right. I got a few chats here. Lemon Pie said, spending lots of time without touching each other. Are you two married? Rim shot. No, Lemon is more of the fact that her boyfriend was twice my size.
That would be, yeah.
And I'm not exactly a boxer. And Mikey says, ooh, cringe stock. LL scurvy. Then Nemesis is laughing with that scurvy. Now Mikey says, ESP through sunflower seeds. If only plants were that simple, LOL.
It'd be nice, right?
There. And yeah, I think that's all the chats there.
Thank you.
Oh, then you got got stream elements so with Jim's channel there for puppy videos and his Star Trek fan films.
Definitely, everybody check out Jim's channel. Excellent, excellent material he's got.
And Mikey said it's too ba. This was family hour because the Howells have each other. Gilligan would be with Marianne, and Skipper has Ginger. LOL. No, I think. Nope, I'm not gonna say it. Not gonna say it. Not gonna say it.
What are you not going to say?
We've talked about it before. It's like an endless debate. We've talked about it many times on who would be with who and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you've got to work backwards from it. You've got to realise that Marianne is way better looking than Ginger.
She was the most popular. She got the most fan mail. That is definitely true. Because the way I've said before is, it's like, if I'm going to go out in public, like to a social event, and everybody's looking at me, I'm going to have Ginger with me. But to go bring home to Mom and Mary, it would be Marianne.
Boom.
So I could see the effect or the attraction and reason for both of them.
Basically, Ginger in the streets, Marianne between the sheets.
Yes. And not only that, though, me not being exactly a rich man, I think Ginger would be much more higher maintenance, as they say. That's a nice way.
She looks high maintenance. And she's a ginger, so...
And Mikey said something about bad. And the professor has his monkeys. Okay. All right, let's continue this on. Let's rock and roll.
All right. Yeah, well, Gilligan, you're right. So here's where Skipper is still testing Gilligan. Gilligan, I don't understand how you do this. I don't know. I'm just standing here, says Gilligan. And then Skipper has an idea, says, let me stand there. So they trade places. Now you think of something. And now Skipper's trying very hard to read Gilligan's mind. And Gilligan's thinking of something. Well, are you thinking of something? And he says he is. He said, well, I'm not getting any message. What are you thinking about? And he talks about when he was in, I think, 3rd grade, and he skinned his knee, and Rudolph, my cousin, and his friend Claude, we were going to the movie see with Freddie with 2 teeth missing. And, of course, the Skipper says, how can I understand what you're thinking when I can't understand what you're saying? And, of course, they're all excited, and they want to share this with the rest of the castaways. So they rush over to everybody. Hey, everybody, Gilligan can read minds. My little buddy can read minds. And, of course, Professor speaks up and says it's a scientific impossibility. And the Skipper says, go ahead.
That statement there is really funny, as we'll find out later.
Right.
From the professor himself.
Yes, definitely. Let's show him, little buddy, says the Skipper. Now, you tell him what I'm thinking about. And he mentions that, of course, we're missing some of the dialogue, but he mentions that he's thinking of the hula dancer again. Yeah. I even tried to fool him, and I couldn't, says the Skipper.
Yeah, as soon as I seen that, I was like, I was thinking, oh, that's just like a magic show right there. It's all pre-set up, Like, how do we know you didn't plan all this ahead of time? You had it all pre-set up.
And there is a gag like that. I remember some magicians use it. They use keywords, code words, and things like that. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the act where they'll send an assistant out to the audience to go around to people and say, what's in your purse, and questions like that. And then the person will give clues to the person on the stage. I don't know. What I said probably doesn't make any sense. But yeah, there is an act like that. And
a secret coded language between assistant and magician.
Yes. Like they'll ask like a birthday, they'll say, if there's a lady sitting there and the assistant says, whisper into my ear, what's your birthday? And they do, and then the assistant will say to the person on stage certain code words to tell them what month and year and things like that. So that it seems like they're reading their mind.
Yeah, that reminds me of the movie Now You See Me or something, I think it's called. Where the magician
now you don't.
No, it's like Now You See Me when that they do all these magic tricks in public. They actually show people. They actually show you how these magic tricks are done and stuff. But also that they pulled off one of the biggest bank heist to give all their money to the people, give the money to all the people. The crowd is like specifically selected. I'll see if I can find the actual name
Oh
of the movie.
yeah, yeah, I've seen that. It was a pretty good movie. I think they had a sequel, which I don't think was as good, but I
I
remember
think
the
the
first one
first half
was.
was good. That's what I remember. It really just nosedive. But anyway,
Yeah, if you ask me the ending, I don't know if I could remember. Sorry, I'm usually good at that, but I guess it must not have really stayed on my radar very long.
is this the card you were thinking of, Gorilla?
Yeah, it was. Now you see me from 2013.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So the professor reminds them, Skipper, just because you said he read your mind doesn't mean he read it. All right, then you think of something, says Skipper. Oh, and then of course, the professor will have none of this. He's not going to humor them. And he says, "Oh, really, Skipper? Come on, Professor." And then of course, Ginger speaks up. "Oh, go ahead and just like I said, humor him, Professor." So, well, all right, go ahead. So the professor starts thinking of something, and then Gilligan says the symbol for aluminum is A. Now, I don't remember verbatim from what he said, and I hope these subtitles are correct. The symbol for aluminum is A-L. Atomic weight is 26.97. And of course, the professor is amazed and surprised that it was true, and that's exactly what he was thinking. Well, it must be some sort of trick, says the professor. Try him again, Professor. Try him again, says the skipper. So they do it again. So the professor starts thinking, and Gilligan says the index of refraction is N equals sine 1 over sine R.
Which I have
Equals,
absolutely no idea what the hell that even means.
no, I think I need Jill here to probably fill us in. So I know Jill probably knows all that stuff. I never was an expert with that. In fact, that might, if that's math, I'm guessing it's math, or is it science, or is it chemistry?
No,
So that shows how dumb I
that'd
am.
be as soon as I said sine, that there I believe is calculus, which is two math courses above what I stopped at because I went to algebra 1, 2, and then geometry. Then there's calculus, but I can't remember what the other one is.
I appreciate that, Gorilla. And as for all of you on the chat and for anybody listening on the rerun, as you can see, this stream is not exactly being hosted by Einstein, and so I feel really dumb when it
What,
comes
the
to
dog
math.
from Back to the Future? Woof! There you go. There's Einstein.
There you go. Right. I was much better at English than I was at math. I know that's no
Hang on, is
excuse.
this linear
So
algebra?
Yeah.
Do we have a total T?
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you.
I was more of the history and social studies.
I did like history and social studies. But no, honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I didn't really have good
Tangent,
math
that's what
teachers
he's doing
growing
with
up.
the equation.
But yeah, I didn't have good math teachers when I grew up, and so
That's brilliant.
it
Going
was
off
kind of
on a
rough.
tangent on math teachers. This guy's a comedy genius.
So now the professor is convinced, and he says, "Well, there's no doubt about it." And of course, Gilligan is surprised. He says that he read his mind. He said, "I must have. I don't even know what I said." So basically, he read this professor's mind and repeated what the professor was thinking, but obviously he had no idea what he was talking about. And now they're all excited, and everybody wants to test it out. So Marianne's saying, "Okay, now what am I thinking?" Go ahead, Gorilla. Do you have something to say?
Oh, I was going to ask if we want to catch up on chat real quick.
Good idea. Thank you.
Well, nothing without the chat.
Absolutely. I love the chat.
Yeah, and Mikey says Professor Buzzkill. Then he says, "Now you see me 1 and 2. We own both." There, and Suzanne says, "Scurvy, hiya." And Scurvy here says, "Gilligan is force sensitive." Yeah, he has high
That's possible.
midichlorian levels or what?
Midichlorian, I think is what they call
Yeah,
it.
midichlorian
It was
level. Yeah,
Midichlorians, the count is off the charts.
yeah. And
Shame
Suzanne
on
says,
you, George Lucas. Like he's really listening.
Oh,
so
he's often out there. We know you're there, George.
I know
you
he's got
tell me,
nothing better to do.
did you die though?
Oh no.
Wow, boy, that escalated quickly. No, he is still alive.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, he sold Lucasfilm, so I assume
Oh, that's the
he.
statement. Selling. Welcome to. Are you selling your company and shuffling off this mortal coil synonymously?
Right.
He's
Are you
effectively
selling?
dead.
Right. Is that why
Maybe
he sold it because you're dying?
Well, that's what I assumed. But
It's Star Wars that's dead, Gorilla. But anyway, back to Gilligan.
anyhow, Mikey says Mark Ruffalo was in both Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, amongst others. Okay.
Yeah, that's
George
the guy that
Lucas
ruined the
is
Hulk.
as dead as someone that got stabbed with a lightsaber. In other words, very much alive.
Yeah.
Yes, and Mark Ruffalo, in my book, he belongs at the very bottom because of what he did to the Hulk. So damn him, I'll say that. I don't want to swear on this stream, but for what he's done to the Hulk, it's like, no, I don't think I can stand looking at his face again. Sorry, go
Alrighty.
ahead.
And then the boomer here says Don Wells, 1959, Miss Nevada. Cool.
Absolutely, yes, and it
Yeah.
shows.
And Scurvy says hi, Suzanne. Then Suzanne says Nemesis, hello. And Scurvy says hi, Phantom Boomer. Mikey says hello, Suzanne. Good to see you. Suzanne says Job, hello. Then Scurvy says Boomer. Oh, he said Phantom Bomber. Mikey says Gilligan, the reluctant island Jedi. Yeah, so we know he'll survive then from a
Oh yes,
lightsaber
definitely.
attack. From a lightsaber attack,
Everybody survives a lightsaber attack on Disney.
except starts with a Q. Quazon.
Qui-Gon Jinn?
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn.
Quazon. Quasar.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Disney. Since they bought Star Wars, the lightsaber is meaningless now. I mean, there's a clip on this crappy Osaka show, whatever it's called, where they actually stick it right through her and out. I'm all the way
Tis
through and
but
fail
a
her completely.
scratch.
Oh, Ahsoka in Ahsoka.
That's it, Ahsoka. And it's like
Barely
3
a
minutes
flesh
later.
wound.
Yes, 3 minutes later, she's totally fine and walking around talking like nothing happened. It's like, oh, God, Disney.
Well, cauterize the wounds.
Not even a band-aid, Gorilla. Just nothing. Just yeah, that's fine. It's just a lightsaber.
Yeah, those
That's a
Paper
dermal.
cut now.
Maybe they
Flesh
stole
wound.
Maybe they stole a dermal regenerator and a hypo spray from Star Trek.
I like the way
Got
well
their
done
boobs
making
up better.
excuses for them more than that what they ever did.
Right, right, that's more than they can ever think of.
Yeah, no, they transported to a whole new dimension there. Got onto a Starfleet ship, stole a dermal regenerator and one of Doctor Crusher's magic hypo sprays of what's the one thing she always used. But anyhow, and they came back and boom, those things can do wonders.
Well, too bad she can't use that thermal regenerator to fix that botched plastic surgery job she has, huh?
I don't think she looked
Anyway,
too bad.
that's another.
But that's a whole different song. All right,
She looks like a dead possum.
Yeah, Boober here says scurvy, and Mikey says hello, Phantom. And Boober says Mikey howdy. Mikey said I almost flunked geometry in high school. They give us have a. Oh, Mikey, if it makes
it's got
you
a
feel
learning curve.
Mikey, if it makes you feel any better, I hold the record for lowest test score ever in the one gal's teaching in accounting class there when I got a 13 out of 150.
Oh,
Back in high school, I knew that my math teacher was in love with me because she would leave a kiss next to every sum.
But that's when I had a whole. Oh. That's when I was up for like 3 days, and that's a whole nother story there. But anyhow, this is some damn Gorilla's channel, some of our reviews and watch parties. And
check out Gorilla's Random Thoughts, everybody. Fantastic channel, very funny and insightful, man.
Yeah. And Mikey says history and general business were my majors. And here is the Phantom Boomer's channel for watch parties. And Mikey says, dang
Yes.
spell checkers, the LOL. And the Boomer says, the index of reflection, N, is the ratio of speed of light in a vacuum. C is the speed of light in a medium.
Very cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's
And-
approximated to 186,000 miles a second, give or take.
And Phantom Boomer here says, Phantom Bomber? Yeah, he's dropping the nukes tonight. And Phantom Boomer says it's only a flesh wound. And Mikey says, LOL, Phantom Holy Grail.
I did that joke like 5 minutes ago. What the fuck?
And that chat was 2 minutes ago. So, Street Helmet says, this is Oil Greg Shale for spoiler-free reviews. And Suzanne says, why is the light flashing in the background? Wow, migraine chair.
Oh, but my background, Suzanne, my background gift is Gilligan holding a lightning rod. I know you can only see part of it.
Yeah, that.
Oh, here we go like this. This you can see that. See that.
There you go. The Gilligan's Island epilepsy inducer.
Yeah, and here Boomer says the index of refraction N is the ratio of the speed of a lightsaber in a vacuum to the speed of the lightsaber in the medium body. And here is the LDG's
Next.
if you ever need IT help or need a place to hang out there, as he's right,
We're going to fly into the sun.
There you go. It's freethenet.org/underground. So here we go. Let's back at it.
All right. So Mary Ann wants to test Gilligan as well to see if he can read her mind.
Is she think of that girl in a grass skirt too?
Right. And Gilligan says, you're thinking of a double thick chocolate malted with whipped cream on top. In case, yeah, there it is, with whipped cream on it. I wasn't sure if we were going to get it in the subtitles. And she says, whipped cream. And he says, yeah, that was my idea. Now, of course, everyone's excited. Now he wants to try it on Ginger. And she says, what am I thinking of?
Oh, so she's the one thinking of girl the grass hula girl the grass skirt. Sorry, I got it.
And he says, what are you thinking of? I don't know how the subtitle is going to read this one, but and Gilligan says, you're thinking of Rockery Hudpeck. Yeah. And he said, oh, he's right, she said. Let's see if we don't show it. She says, I was thinking about Rock Hudson and Gregory Peck, but I couldn't read my mind. Or I couldn't make up my mind. Couldn't make up my mind.
Yeah.
And of course, Mr. Howell, of course, immediately calls him over. Would you come over here? Sit down. And you say you can read minds, huh? You realize that the Howell mind is different, of course. So I'll just give it up. And he asks him, what is he thinking? And he says, you're hoping that the prices of your chemical stocks have gone up. And he says, that's right. Oh, it's a lucky guess.
Well, Mr. Howell, anything with money will bend the right guess.
Right. It's going to be money, stocks, anything to make them richer. Now, let's just try it again. I'll give it the double. And that's the look on his face. And Gilligan says, you're thinking that if you could read minds like me,
you'd own
the world or richest man in the world or something like that, right?
You'd own the world.
Right. It's hard to remember verbatim what they say, guys. And that's why, like I said, I recommend you watching this to catch the jokes. The whole thing is, I don't want to ruin the jokes. This was
a funny episode there.
It's good.
I know what I was thinking. If I could only ditch Mrs. Thurston Howell III, I could get with Mary Ann.
Oh, he already was. Oh, that's next episode. I'll save it.
Can you imagine Captain paying alimony to Mrs. Howell? She'd take everything he has.
That'd be the end of it. She'd bleed him
Yes,
dry.
that's exactly right. Yes.
It all depends on how good of a lawyer you get.
Oh, she's got the best lawyer. She's a bitch like that.
As I was going to say, she'd use his money to get the best lawyer.
Right. There you go. That's smart thinking.
So now, of course, everybody's all excited and they're all want a piece of the action and they want Gilligan to read their minds. And then Mr. Howells, of course, now girls, control yourself. He's only just Gilligan. But to me, he's my little Fort Knox. So he takes Gilligan aside. Oh, come on. And I'm going to point something out here that I noticed watching this. The color of Gilligan's hat seems to change throughout this episode. As you notice, it's usually white, like as white as like a brand new white sailor cap. But it seems to be like a beige, like dirty. And sometimes
Is
it'll
it
be white.
indicating it's a dream sequence? No.
Possibly, huh? But you guys will notice, and also in the next, because like the next episode we watch after this, it'll be white like a brand new hat again. So I'm wondering if maybe that. Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe it got dirty and he washed it.
It is possible, but it's strange that they would do that. I'm wondering if he had several hats, and maybe it gets dirty and they just toss it out and get a new one.
He's a mind reader, dirty hat. Maybe he's got a dirty mind.
Oh, that's true. Maybe the more he reads minds, the dirtier it gets.
Maybe he's thinking of a hula girl in a grass skirt.
Maybe he's thinking of a hula girl without a grass skirt.
That's what Thurston Howell's thinking of right now.
No, money's what gets him off.
Gets him off. All right then, a hula girl wearing a dollar bill skirt.
Dollar bill? Thurston Howell? Never.
He blows his nose with $5 bills.
Right. I mean, we won't mention what he does with $100 bills.
I believe he lights his cigars with them.
So what the Howells are doing here is they have an alarm clock. And Mrs. Howell's pacing back and forth. And they're trying to read each other's minds because they're confused on how Gilligan is doing. And they're trying to figure out how. What's the secret? Dear Thurston, how long do we have to do this pacing thing, she says. Well, why don't we just, so they're wondering how Gilligan's doing it. So it says, why don't we just walk up to him and ask him? And he says, well, he did. And he said he doesn't know. And she says, oh, well, you can believe him. That's a horrible freeze frame there for the poor Mrs. Howell. She looks like she's blitzed and had drank a little too much coconut juice.
Hey, man, that Coke there, that's some good stuff. That's some mighty good stuff.
Oh, and I'm going to, before I forget, there used to be an old show on called Thriller. And I watched an episode, it's on YouTube. And there was a fantastic episode, believe it or not, starring her and William Shatner. And I'm going to try to cover that one of these days. But it was interesting to see them two acting together on one show. So I thought was very, very cool. Obviously, it was done before Star Trek. And it was even in black and white. So he was very young in it. So she says, if there's one thing that boy can't do, it's tell an untruth. I like how they use that instead of saying the word lie. Because I remember in elementary school, a teacher telling us, now lie is very rude. You don't use that word. You use the word untruth. I remember a 3rd, 4th grade, a teacher telling us that. And yes, I know, my dear. It's so revolting. So he's frustrated because obviously he doesn't know the secret on how Gilligan's reading minds. And this is where they bring up the shape of his head. They said maybe it has something to do with his head, and the shape of his head has nothing to do with it. And Mr. Howell says, my Uncle Edward's head is more pointed than his. I wish it was a joke. It was a funny joke. So hold on just a second. I don't. My Uncle Edward's head is more pointed than his. And he can't even read a menu. That's it. I'll probably get flagged just for that. Darn CBS.
Yeah, and hey, PvP.
Well, PvP, good to see you.
Let's catch up here on the chat, goes.
Thank you, Gorilla.
Mary, I'm really thinking of sleeping with Gilligan after hours, though. Cap would agree.
No, I wouldn't. What?
Yeah. Mr. Howell would do more with Ginger.
So, Captain, I have to ask, with Marianne, what would you prefer, the French maid outfit or what?
Wow, I think it's a French-made outfit Wednesdays and something special for the weekend.
No French maid outfit.
And,
Oh no, you got it. No, the French-made outfit always stays on. Come on, be reasonable.
and Mikey says, by the way, Gorilla, Debbie Does Dallas would make the ultimate cringe stock, buddy. I am
Yeah.
not. That's more of a bedroom film. If you really want Debbie Does Dallas, Mikey, I'll get you the link to the movie if you really want that link. But I'm not showing it on cringe stock. That's a bedroom film for those. Let's just say those nice unique company.
Yes. Thank you for putting it so eloquently, Gorilla. I appreciate that.
Well, this is Gilligan's Island, even though the streams get. Oh, so far we've been kind of pushing the limits on what we can. Well, according to your guidelines for what we ratings and that, you want to keep it to the
Yes.
rating of the shows. So.
Right.
But,
This is family stream because there may be kids watching, so I usually try to keep it rated G.
yeah. And Mike says Mrs. Howell looks warped. LOL. And
I know
PvP
that.
says hello. And Mike says hi.
PvP.
And Scurvy says hi, PvP. Hey, PvP is some sort of drug. No, wait, nope, that's PCP. Never mind.
PCP.
Yeah. And Suzanne says PvP hello, and PvP says hello, Mikey and Scurvy. And PvP says nice to see you too. And he says hi, Pops and Gorillas. And Scurvy
Likewise, PvP.
says X-rated Mikey. And Suzanne says PvP. That's okay. You don't need to say anything to me. And PvP says hello. Hi, Suzanne. He's getting there. He just has to go through the list of everybody that he sees in the chat there. You might not have caught yours right away.
I make that mistake sometimes too, and I feel bad. I don't want people to feel left out or like I'm ignoring them. So if that ever does happen, you guys, I do not do it intentionally. I try to say hello to everybody, and especially anybody that acknowledges me, I will always say hello back. But I know sometimes, like when I'm on my phone or if I'm in the doctor's office or in the waiting room, sometimes I'm not able to reply. And so if that's the case, just want to let everybody know it's not intentional.
Yeah, that's my problem when we got these streams while I'm at work, you know. I'll just say like hi in the chat real quick, then also people will start saying hi to me. I was like, oh shit. Like I'm not paying attention to the chat there. I'm just
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah, PvP says I miss seeing you in chat. And Scurry says keep in mind PvP is drinking eggnog, doing laundry, and chatting at once.
And never gonna live that down.
Yeah. And Suzanne says good night, Pop Gorilla, Captain Finley. Well, you have a good night there, Suzanne.
Yeah.
Good night, Suzanne.
Yeah, take care, Suzanne, and thank you for stopping by. It was so good to see you again.
Yeah, and things will look up. It's just probably one bad day all around. I know how stuff spills over to other live streams. Like I remember one argument, and it was the stupidest damn thing, and I should have known who started it. But it streamed. It went on for 3 weeks and over 24 live streams arguing whether or not scrambled eggs was an omelet. So I know how this stuff spills over to other live streams. So I just ignore it, and just ignore it. It's
yeah,
one of those,
it's the same with the pineapple pizza. It's like, I'm not going to get into it.
yeah, it's just like ignore it.
Pineapple pizza is freedom pizza.
No, hey, no, but
like a protest.
Hey, but the pineapple lovers and the non-pineapple lovers must unite, though, to stop the atrocity of what is called the candy corn pizza.
Ooh, that does not sound very appetizing.
Yeah. Someone just made a pizza, threw a bunch of candy corn on it, and baked it. I was like, we must unite to stop this.
No, that's someone just looking for clicks. So whatever you saw it on, they just do. I mean, I could take a dog turd and put it on a pizza if I wanted clicks for anything, but I'm not going to do it.
No,
I guarantee you, whoever did that didn't need it.
Oh, I guarantee you that was a lot of fun. The comments were a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, that's why they do it.
It's a good funny post. It was a good funny post there.
Well, I know. It's just I don't know. I just don't. I don't. It's and I know it's me, and I apologize. I just don't understand why people do useless things for clicks. I don't know. I just
Well,
that's
that's
why I
just
don't.
one of
That's
those.
why I don't have all the attention they do. I guess so. There you go. That's my
Well,
fault.
that's just one of those. It's a funny joke there, and it got engagement. Just the comments took off as real funny and a lot of fun there. And Mikey says, "Oh, scurvy." And PvP says, "Multitasking scurvy." Then Mikey says, "Good night, Suzanne." PvP says, "Night, Suzanne." Scurvy says, "Night, Suzanne." But and Faded Boomer says, "No seafood on pizza." I don't know,
No,
shrimp.
no. Well, anchovies is the only thing as far as seafood I think there's on pizza, right? I could be wrong. I don't know.
Oh, there might be shrimp pizzas and
Oh, we
stuff around.
lost Captain. Captain, I
Yeah.
hope you can come back. He's probably having problems with his internet.
Yeah, PvP says it's giving the pizzas, and there. And Mikey says, "Captain, a white nipple now." LOL.
Yeah, it sounds like an internet connection. And it's please don't say that. I don't want to hear the N word that you just said, Gorilla, on my
Nipple.
rated G streams. It's just not
Oh, sorry.
necessary
Oh, I
because
thought.
I want to
Oh,
clarify on my streams. It is a stock avatar. I said that last night. I shouldn't have to repeat it, but I'm saying it again.
okay,
I
I
don't
didn't
want to
hear.
hear that on my streams.
Yeah, I didn't remember that from last time. I'm sorry. There's
It's
so
not
much fun.
funny. It's not funny. It's a stock avatar. That's all it is. It means their
Okay.
avatar is not working. I don't need to hear, and I don't want to repeat myself again, please.
Sorry, I didn't. I missed that last night there with everything. PvP
Oh
says,
yeah, everybody was talking over each other last night. That's what we were talking about. I know it was hard to get
Mikey
word in
says,
edgewise
"AM
last night.
Phantom, you anchovies." And Mikey says, "Oh, sorry, Pop." And
That's
Peter
okay.
Not
I
Finished says,
accept.
"Sorry, my network dipped, and I'm not home where my internet is fast." Then Mikey,
Understandable, Captain. You're welcome back as soon as you can.
all right, we're all caught up.
Thank you. All right, here we go. So basically, Mrs. Howell asked Mr. Howell, maybe he had a nightmare. And then Mr. Howell says, there's no way a nightmare is going to do that. And she says, well, I mean, maybe Gilligan ate something that disagreed with him. That's it. That's his secret, says Mr. Howell. And she says, what? Well, he says, well, he does have a most peculiar diet. So Mr. Howell says, of calories, he's going to eat everything Gilligan eats. Calories, proteins, carbohydrates, and mud. She says, oh, darling, remember, you have a very delicate tummy. I've got to get that. Yeah, exactly. I've got to get that sequence, says Mr. Howell. Of course, he's obsessed. Oh, yes, dear, but you'll toss and turn. She says basically, if you eat the same thing he eats, you'll toss and turn all night. And he says, I'll do anything to get that circle. I'll become a whirling dervish. I haven't heard that term in a long time.
I have never heard that term.
And this is apparently a sample of what Gilligan eats, which does not look very appetizing at all.
Well, that's all the scraps left.
Well, scraps, right, but even then, I don't know. Of course, and like I've said before, I'm not a big seafood fan, so if it has a shell, I'm probably not going to eat it. So I'm not into crab or
I
lobster.
love seafood.
I know, and I don't like. I'm looking. I see clams, oysters, ugh. And I know
Yep.
Jill said she likes that stuff.
Which reminds me, I'm going to train. I'm going to go to Chinese tomorrow. Now, I want clams now. Dang it!
Now I have to ask: are they cooked or you just eat them raw?
Cooked. They're cooked with a special sauce on top.
Steamed, boiled, fried,
Steamed.
What? Gotcha.
They're steamed and they have a special thing on top.
Gotcha.
There's sauce on top.
So Mr. Howell is listing off all the different things that he had just eaten. And of course, he includes the coconut milk. He says, how can a skinny kid like you hold so much? He says, I don't know, Mr. Howell. Not until I've had dessert. So Gilligan hasn't even had dessert yet.
Well, actually, the world champion for like hot dog eating contests and all that, he's just a skinny little lad from
Japan. Some people don't like that. I had a brother like that, skinny as a rail, but he could eat. I'm not that fortunate, unfortunately.
Oh, I got a coworker. He's pretty skinny too, and we're surprised we found the bottom of the pit for him. He ate a lot of food.
Coconut, papaya, and tuna fish pie. Ew, that does not sound good. Basically, what happened is, Gilligan is reading Marianne's mind. So he says, so now he knows what he's having for dessert. And he says, Marianne's making coconut papaya and tuna fish pie.
I thought, did he say that it was his favorite dessert, the coconut papaya tuna fish?
I think so.
But did he establish, like,
coconut cream pie
4 episodes ago that his favorite was coconut cream pie?
Yeah, more than once that he mentioned coconut cream pie.
Yeah.
But of course, they're doing this for the joke.
Yeah, I know.
And Mr. Howell does not look very good when he hears this. So Gilligan rushes off here to go get some pie. And as you can see, Mr. Howell, that did not exactly sound very well. Gilligan rushes off to to get some pie, and Mr. Howell staggers back to the hut.
Yeah.
And
complaining the whole way.
Right. Because he ate all that crazy food, and you can see he has an extra big gut. And he burps. I feel like a beached whale, he says. Thurston, this isn't the time for a siesta, she says. And he says, you've got to go. She says, you've got to get up. And he says, why? She says, it's time for dinner. that look on his face. And of course, it skipped the whole thing because of the slides, but she wanted him to zip up the back of her dress, and he couldn't get up to reach. So now we have Ginger trying to figure out what's going on. So she's playing the psychologist role and asking Gilligan questions. Gilligan, you've got to wait until I've asked the question, because obviously he's answering them before she can ask. I never thought I'd have so much difficulty, because the plot of this is about him reading minds and answering things before people can ask him. But it's difficult to do that with the subtitles and missing subtitles. I don't know why, but it's. I hope I'm not ruining the jokes for everybody.
No, you're doing good.
Okay, but I can't see how you're going to figure out how I read minds, says Gilligan. Well, I think I can. Now, she asks. And he says, yes, before she can ask. She says, and your mother, your mother let him? It's like, oh, you poor thing. And she's like, the people like that are watching right now are listening. You're like, what was going on? Well, I reiterate, I suggest everybody please watch this episode so that you understand what they're talking about. I don't know why. It's really difficult for this episode. I'll say a word, and you say the first thing that comes to mind, she says. And she says black. And he says white, if I remember right. And she says dog. I think he says cat. And she says boy. And he says, he says something else, but I don't remember exactly. And she says boy again, and he says, oh boy. Girl, boy. And he says, yeah, boy, girl, yeah. Oh, Gilligan, it's no use. And she eats one of his seeds. If I see him, I'll tell him. See, and I don't remember what exactly they're talking about. I hate having to go through these slides like this. The skipper, you just asked me. Oh, so they're talking about the skipper. That's right. I apologize. And I just watched this before the stream. Yeah, it's just I don't remember exactly every word they said.
Well, actually, I watched this 3 hours or 4 or 5 hours at that time.
Yeah, I was in the hospital today, and I just got home just in time to watch these before the stream. So Ginger realizes that she just read Gilligan's mind. Gilligan, I just read your mind. How'd you do it? How did you do it? He says. She says like this. So she realizes it must be the seed, the sunflower seeds. He says, oh, and then he eats another one. And she explains that they can't be ordinary sunflower seeds. And he says, I guess not. And she says, let's try to read each other's minds. And here's another, then this is a running joke here that they're going to explain everybody, or that they're going to go back and forth here with this joke. And you've got to watch the episode to get it, because the subtitles are going to miss a lot of it. And basically what they're saying is I know what you're thinking, and I know what you're thinking, and I know that you know that I know what you're thinking. It's that kind of thing back and forth.
Yeah, so on for a couple minutes.
Right.
they did it. I think they did it just a tad too much.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
It's almost like they had to stretch it out for another minute or so, to stretch out the episode.
And I have to say, Ginger looks hot even in glasses. Even though they're
Yeah.
birth control glasses, she still looks good.
And speaking of birth control glasses, let's catch up on the chat here.
Thank you, Gorilla.
And PvP says Gilligan eats mud. That was a joke on from Mr. Howell there, that he'll eat everything if Gilligan eats mud.
Even mud, right?
Yeah, Mike, he says, delicate tummy. You don't hear that term in a long while. Oh, I got an iron stomach. I used to make these things called suicides for drinks there. And my uncle, after we got done doing a parade in Northrop, I think it was, we stopped at McDonald's there on the way back, and I made one of those at McDonald's there, and he's like, "What the hell are you mixing?" And I told him, and he goes, "Here, you wanted to try it?" He took a small sip of it. There, he took 2 sips of it, and he didn't like it. It was a 35-mile trip back home, and we had to stop twice on the interstate there just for him to stop to throw up.
Ooh.
I got an iron stomach.
I used to have, when I was a teacher, I had an excellent, fantastic student. I miss him. His name was Elijah. And he was really smart, and he became kind of like my helper. And he would help me tutor the other kids. And I would take him to lunch, and that's what he would do. I remember that he would ask for suicide, and they would be, huh, what? And he said, well, just mix all. And they would go under every spout and give him a little bit of every soda. And I was like, no thanks. He offered something to me, and I said, no, thank you. I'll just take a Pepsi.
Yeah, it's good, but you got to have a strong stomach.
Be prepared, I guess.
Yeah. And Mikey says, LOL, PvP snails. PvP says, Pop is a seafood phobia. Or has a seafood.
No, I do eat. You know what it is I wasn't exposed to a lot of it growing up. And if there's any phobia, it's spiders. And crab looks too much like spiders. If it's got a lot of legs and eyes that goes in different directions, no thanks.
So what does it make you feel better knowing that you're eating them and getting rid of them?
Getting rid of them? No, I don't have any reason to do
that.
Yeah,
you're eating and getting rid of them. You're getting rid of that spider. Disposing of it.
But not only that, but I mean, in all reality, crabs and lobsters are bottom feeders. They eat all the garbage and shit from other fish. So, no thanks.
Yeah, that don't bother me. I eat bullheads, so.
Oh. Is that what they eat?
They mostly eat. They're basically a miniature catfish.
Okay, gotcha.
They're really good in the springtime. We have both beef up here. And the boomer says, I did my fast food duty in the fish and chips. I can't stand fish or seafood anymore. I'm just glad I never worked in a burger or pizza place.
I haven't worked at a pizza place, but I did burger joints when I was a teenager.
Yeah, I've made enough guacamole for my lifetime. So, Mikey says, Joey Chestnut equals world class hot dog eater. I thought it was some Asian guy, some Japanese guy.
I don't know.
I thought he was the champion, and I'm not sure what he's throwing. Snail, a shark, and
something snail and shark. I have to biggie this. Like, I'm sorry, guys. In StreamYards, it's hard for us to tell. Oh, octopus, snail, and shark. I had to enlarge the screen.
Okay.
No, you're right. Multi-tentacled things? No, probably not.
Yeah.
But I like fish. I like
PvP,
most fish.
Yeah,
sorry, go
PvP
ahead.
Here channel for all your rock roll needs, and PvP says tuna burgers are great. Tuna, cheese, mayo, and onions with olive poured over top, and then the top half of the bottom wrapped in tinfoil, then baked in the oven. I'll let you have it there.
Isn't that a tuna melt? I could be wrong.
Yeah, pretty much. Or my mom used to make hot tuna buns. Nope, you can keep that. And
I never heard of a tuna bun.
the hot tuna bun. Yeah, my mom used to mix like mayo and tuna and something else
Ugh.
in
It's
there.
mayo. The tuna I like. It's the mayo right across the line. I don't like mayo. Ugh.
Yeah. I like tuna, peas, and macaroni and cheese all mixed together. But
Yeah, but I do put tuna in my mac and cheese, and that doesn't sound bad.
yeah, but we added peas too. So
Peas is
but
fine. I like
yeah,
peas. That wouldn't.
yeah. Whenever mom decided that she was gonna have hot tuna buns, I made sure I worked that night
It's the mayo
because
that
I
I
worked.
just I don't like mayo.
I hate mayo. And Mikey says Ginger as a psychiatrist or psychologist or a psychiatrist. Oh my!
She can
And
be
Mikey,
mine anytime.
yeah, and Mikey says why he serves them PvP, but not just tuna because they also have pulled pork too. Well, anyway, there's a lot of places that probably serve it. And
Yeah.
here's this channel for all your hot rod needs and gaming.
Right, and gaming, and other things as well. Yeah, I definitely highly recommend my good friend Nemesis.
And PvP says, sounds good, Mikey. And Mikey says, yes. And he's giving the drunken emoji. And PvP says, I used my mom's family recipe to make the mujiki. Darn sorry, Mikey can't spell. And Mikey says, four-eyed female floozy equals ginger. And women in glasses are hot. And Mikey says, Pop, we had a good neighbor named Elijah, but he moved away. Oh, that sucks.
Oh, very cool. My student Elijah unfortunately died tragically at the age of 25 on the operating table. He had a heart murmur, and unfortunately it was anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah. PFC says, I'll stick to the eggnog things. Maybe mix your eggnog with your tuna burgers. Ooh. And he says, lobster butter sauce is delicious. I cannot disagree with that. And then here's Captain Fiddy's channel for live streams and that.
Yep, definitely check out Captain Biddy's channel. The man is very intelligent, insightful, and funny. So he loves to talk about time travel. If you like time travel, Blade Runner, things like that, that's the man to check out.
Yeah, just tell him how wonderful time travel is and that you could go back and change the past.
Okay.
And Boomer says, yuck! And Phoebe's laughing. Mike says, Pop, I didn't see me on Stream Elements. No big worries. So, we got to add you there out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. That's right. Yeah, I usually mention that if you don't see your name in the Stream Elements, the little bot thing that repeats every so often, let me know. But if you tell me like right now during a live stream, I'm probably gonna forget by the time it's over. So I don't know if you have my Twitter or way of messaging me. If I have some kind of message,
I'll send you a message on Twitter right now. If you don't answer it there, then you'll see it at the end of the stream.
Yeah, because I will, because otherwise my phone will chirp. But yeah, Jill and I were talking about it on her stream, on her TOS stream yesterday.
Yeah,
we both need to get caught up on our Stream Element spots.
Yeah, PvP says interesting how everybody has different tastes. It's like, yeah, then once I had to start paying for food, now I understood some of my mom's stuff, and I've actually started enjoying bean hot dish though more than I did when I was growing up. It's real cheap and real good.
Bean hot dish,
baked beans.
Oh, bean. Baked beans and what? Go ahead. Sorry.
Baked. You make up some macaroni there, and then you brown up hamburger and season the hamburger. Then once they're done, you put them in together. Then you put in a thing of baked beans and let it heat up a little bit. Just don't forget about it. It only takes like a minute or two for the beans to warm up. Gotcha. There, just do your favorite baked beans. There's like 20 different flavors of baked beans now.
There's a lot of things you can do with baked beans. Yeah, I like them. Okay, so here we have, and Professor and Skipper are still debating on, let's hide. There we go. And Professor and Skipper are still debating on whether Gilligan can read minds, and the professor is unwilling to accept it. And he says, and I still say,
that's me. That's me.
Oh, okay. I forgot. Well, it reminds me though. I need to mute this phone. Thank you for sending the message there. There we go. No more chirping. Okay. I still say that Gilligan can read minds, says the skipper. And Professor says medical science says he can't. And he says Ginger can read minds just like. So this is where. Remember now. I'm sorry, it was like 15 minutes ago. But remember, Ginger ate one of the seeds, and now she can read minds too. So her and Gilligan are all excited, so they rush up. And Gilligan says Ginger can read minds just like me. And they don't believe her at first. And they ask him, so what does medical science think about that? I would have to perform laboratory tests with strict controls, he says. Oh, never mind, Professor, says the skipper. And Skipper asked her, test her, what am I thinking? And she said 34, 24, 36. So he's thinking about her. Of course.
Yeah, I can't remember what he's saying what he was actually thinking.
Right, exactly.
It was so funny. That was so funny.
Right, and she says, no. I was thinking of the latitude of this island, the longitude and latitude of the island. Good answer. Oh, no, you weren't, Skipper. And of course, he interrupts Gilligan. You were thinking about Ginger. Oh, never mind, Gilligan. All right, now, Professor, you go ahead. You test her. Read my mind. So she basically repeats the same measurements again. So Professor is not totally without a desire. I'll put it that way. And she says, tisk, tisk, tisk. And he says, well, that's just the atomic weight of sodium hydrochloride. Right. And of course, Gilligan again. Oh, no, Professor, you were thinking about Ginger. Did Gilligan
That's enough, Gilligan.
Right.
That's enough, Gilligan.
And then Ginger explains, all you have to do is eat one of these sunflower seeds, which isn't a sunflower seed at all, says the professor. Well, that's fantastic. It says that, so he says that he's heard of these, and in his books, it says the last bush died over 3 centuries ago.
Now here, remember we said it's scientifically impossible to remind, but yet he remembers this off the top of his head that he read about these seeds in a book, in a random book here, right off the top of his head.
Well, maybe that reminded him. Maybe he had forgotten about it, and when he saw the seeds, that it reminded him. And considering it was 3 centuries ago, he probably didn't think it was. Probably thinks it's non-existent. So, well, whoever wrote that book is a blooming idiot. But I'll ignore that. According to legend, which now appears to be fact, says the professor, to induce telepathic communications, a form of mind reading. So he says the bush was known to do that. I don't know. It's so hard to try to make sense of these subtitles on this episode. I've never had this problem before. So I'm going to repeat again, everybody. You've got to watch this episode live so you can catch everything they're saying. Go ahead, Gorilla.
Yeah, this is one of those. If you don't watch it, it won't make much sense to you.
Right. Well, I'll have to reread that chapter, says the professor. Good thing he happens to have that book on him, right? And he takes the seed, and Ginger says, Professor, my seed. So I guess that's the last one. And of course, suddenly, we all see it's daytime. Skipper says, I think it's time to hit the sack. And Gilligan reads his mind and says, you'll make me tell you where the bush is. Who, me? Being coy, says the skipper. And
that's not suspicious at all.
No, not at all. Do you notice anything different about this scene here, Gorilla?
This one here? Gilligan doesn't have his hat on. Wait, he has something in his arm.
Nope. Gilligan's on the bottom bunk. Usually the skipper's on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll see why. What's that?
Yeah, I guess I wasn't paying that close attention to it.
Well, that's okay, and we will see why Gilligan, for a change, is on the bottom bunk.
Huh.
And of course, Skipper's trying to wake him up.
Well, wasn't the skipper always on the bottom bunk because he was
Yeah,
so heavy that he was squashing Gilligan?
you're right. And Gilligan's always falling on him, right? So yeah, so Gilligan's always on the top bunk, hammock.
Uh, well,
So
originally they put Gilligan on the bottom there because he kept falling out of the top hammock there. But as soon as Skipper got on the top hammock there, it sunk so low and squished Gilligan, which they could have just solved it. They would just
yes,
put two poles up and put them next to each other.
right. So Gilligan is asleep, and Skipper is trying to talk to him. And he says, "I've always taken care of you, haven't I? You've always been sure and sure luck with this, hasn't it?" And Gilligan says, "Please, Skipper, I'm trying to get some sleep." So Skipper pulls up a chair and sits and says, "All I'm asking is one simple thing." Whispering to Gilligan, "Let's keep the location of that bush a secret." And of course, Gilligan is in and out of sleep, so he's not really understanding what Skipper says. And he says, "I've always taken care of you, haven't I? I mean, it's always been share and share alike with us, hasn't it?" Who put that record back on again? And see, I'm trying to remember exactly what led to this joke. So I apologize, everybody, if I can't explain every joke. It's like I said, for some reason, it's a very difficult episode because we're missing so much of the dialogue. So basically, Skipper's telling him, "Tell me where the bush is, and then you can go back to sleep." Just say yes, Skipper. Gilligan's already asleep. And Skipper's already assuming that they made a deal, which they really didn't because Gilligan's asleep. And now we have the Howells here talking, and this is how it looked bad in that last shot again. Unfortunately, this is twice she's got that lazy eye. "Thurston, aren't you ever going to sleep?" And he says, of course, he's obsessed about those seeds. And she said, "Well, Gilligan promised to show us the mind reading bush." Well, he says, "Well, I just don't trust him." And she says, "Don't trust Gilligan, but that's ridiculous. Well, it so happens he's the soul of honor." And he's bunking, and she goes, and Mr. Howell says, "Yes, but he's bunking the Sinbad the sailor, so he knows not to trust the skipper." "Or you don't mean you don't trust the captain?" She says, "No, that kind of trust made Julius Caesar a pincushion, my dear."
Yeah. Oh, I just was listening to a thing on there where they're talking about Julius Caesar's last words and how
Et tu, Brute?
yeah, which I think it got translated wrong, which I think was real last. I think his real last words like "You too, Brute or Brute."
Et tu, Brute?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Howell has something up his sleeve, and he's got a scheme. So that kind of, there we go. We saw that. And now she's standing there wondering, and here we have where Mr. Howell. This is why Gilligan is on the bottom bunk, by the way, so that they could shoot these scenes where everybody's talking to Gilligan. "Oh, Gilligan," says Mr. Howell, and of course Gilligan's drowsy, and he keeps falling back to sleep. And he says, "What did I say? Shh, Gilligan, there's a little business deal I want to talk over with you." "Yes, Gorilla."
But their bunks aren't that high. They could have kept it the same way and wouldn't have made much of a difference.
I think the reason why they did that was to keep the skipper out of the shot. Because otherwise you'd be wondering why the skipper isn't waking up. And if the camera is looking at them, I want you to think about this. If the camera was showing both of them in the bunk, you'd be looking at Mr. Howell's crotch if he was talking to somebody in the top bunk. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
"Gilligan, there's a little business deal I want to talk over with you," says Mr. Howell. And Gilligan's like, "No, no, no, no. Mr. Howell, I'm pooped." And he says, "No, call me Thurston." And he says, "Okay, Mr. Thurston." He says, "That's not Mr. Thurston, just plain old Thurston." And since we're partners, why not Thirsty? Of course, Thirsty. And George Gilligan's too drowsy. And Mr. Howell is trying to make a deal on sharing the bush. And he's saying, "How about 50-50? 60-40. Of course, he immediately starts cutting Gilligan out of the deal. That's final. I won't let you take anything less. And Gilligan's already back
Yeah,
to sleep.
70-30. 70-30 was the final.
All right, 70-30 was the final. How fair, huh? That's final. I won't let you take anything else. Okay, Mr. Howell, I'll sleep on it, says Gilligan, and he puts his hat over his face. And Mr. Howell takes the hat. He says, tomorrow you'll put the seeds in my hand for safekeeping. Right? He says, and Gilligan's already snoring. No need to answer, my boy, just a simple nod of the head. And then he takes his hand, and as you can see, he grabs Gilligan's head and moves it up and down. He says, that's it. Yes, indeed, perfectly legal.
Wait,
And he says, go ahead.
yeah, which is not, it would never hold up in a court of law. Heck,
Well,
there's
of
some
course
contracts,
not.
of course, some contracts, the judge may look at it and go, seriously, this was in the contract? No, void it. Void. No contract, because, yeah, you may put a bunch of stuff in the contract, but if the judge deems it unreasonable, your contract can be null and void even if you
Right.
did agree to it.
Right. Mr. Howell's doing this to alleviate his guilty conscience. But what's funny is that he even points towards the skipper and says, perfect, I even have a witness. And the skipper's, of course, is dead asleep. And there he's all excited and he runs out. And this is funny here. He comes out of the hut, and just as he does, Ginger's sneaking by with the same plan. She wants to talk. I'm going to show this. Hopefully I won't get a warning. But this is what happens. Now, remember, Mr. Howell was just speaking to Gilligan, trying to convince him of his shenanigans or of his scheme. And then now we have Ginger coming along with the same intentions. And here's what happens when they see.
I'm going to put that on there. That should help it. I've noticed that was mine there when I have these going.
Wait, I didn't catch that. Say that again.
I put the banner up. That seems to help mine when I did that with 5 strikes. I put the banner up.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Hopefully it'll help. All right. I'll make this short. It'll only be a few seconds. So Mr. Howell comes out. Here comes Ginger, and here's how they interact. So they both act like they're sleepwalking, and she happens to sleepwalk right into Gilligan and Skipper's hut. And she's trying to wake him up, of course. Gilligan, I've got to talk to you. And he says, tomorrow, huh? And she, of course, she's trying to use her ways. I'd like you better tomorrow, I promise, he says. And she says, Gilligan, will you promise me one thing? The seeds will be our secret. I won't even tell you. Of course, it's missing some of the jokes. Gilligan, and he keeps going back to sleep. And she puts his arms around her. And tonight we share a kiss, she says. Tomorrow, the seeds. Lucky Gilligan gets a good kiss from Ginger. And he snores, and that's why you get the look on her face. Is he snores as they're kissing, and that kind of upsets her, as you can see.
All right, should we catch up on chats here?
Thank you, Gorilla.
All right, Boomer says, beans, the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot.
Yep,
and Mike
right.
says, LOL. And Scurvy here says, I love seafood myself. And Mikey says, Professor's such a heel sometimes, Pop. Or that's supposed to mean.
I think it's because a heel because he's well, Mikey, why don't you elaborate? I'll put it that way. I don't want to tell him what you're thinking, so I'm not Gilligan. I can't read minds.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Mikey says, me too, Scurvy. Tuna sandwich with a dash of lemon juice.
Ooh.
And Scurvy here says, my doctor, he's not a nice man. After I weighed in, he told me I must be on a seafood diet. I see food, I eat it. Yep. That's kind of like the same joke where my sister would always ask me, "Do you like seafood?" I go like, "Yeah." Then she open her mouth and stick her tongue out. There'd be the big ball of food on her tongue.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, Mikey says, so true. And PvP says, even Ginger isn't dumb enough to believe what they're telling her.
Of course.
And Scurry says, I love lobster, crab, fish. Yeah, me too. PvP says, tuna loaf is good too. It's like meatloaf. You just use tuna instead of hamburger. Add
Cool.
lemon juice. Tasty. And Scurvy says, everyone all about eating lemon tonight. Mikey says, yummy. Then we got a bunch of lemons. And Mikey says, oh, well, lemon, oh my God. And then here's a bunch of fish. And PvP says, lemon, we are not cannibals. And Boomer says, ouch. Cannibals? Us, nah. Hey, don't knock
Nope.
until you try. Don't knock until you try. And PvP's laughing goes, Scurvy here says, well, I'm rich in vitamin C.
Well, that's definitely a good thing.
Here's Jim's channel for puppy videos and fan films. He's apparently on some Ferengi repair videos. And Scurvy here says, wait, women don't like snoring?
Some women snore, so equal opportunity.
Yeah. And Mikey says, Professor might be a bit smarter than the castaways, but not in the emotions department. I meant Pop.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember now he was thinking of Ginger's measurements too, so he is a man.
And Boomer here says, long pig. All right, we're all caught up.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So Ginger found or realized that apparently her wily ways is not working with Gilligan. So in frustration, she leaves. And now we have the next day, and everybody's sitting around the table. And of course, they're saying Gilligan couldn't break promise to his big buddy. Who'd believe that Gilligan would pull a trick like that? They're all frustrated thinking that Gilligan lied. Well, darling, what did he say to you? Shh. Oh, she said, what did he say to you? I can't remember exactly what she said, but basically when he snuck in the hut last night.
Yeah, when he's like...
Yeah. Right. And Professor says, I don't know why you're all so upset. And they said, well, we don't know why he left without saying where he was going. He told me he was going to go and get the seed, says Marianne. Bring him here with all of us watching? I'll never trust him again, says Ginger. You know exactly where he went. I tried that last night, but it didn't work. Here's where they realized the seed, and Professor explained all of it. He says, I did some reading about those seeds last night. And he says the effect is temporary. So I'm glad I remember that because the subtitle didn't catch it. But he said the effect from the seeds is temporary. And as he says that, you hear Gilligan saying, hi, everybody, I'm back. And here's Gilligan, and he says, as promised, everybody, I promised plenty of seed for everyone. And here they are, he says. And he stretches out his hand with bags of seeds, and everybody does this. Of course, immediately they all go crazy. And everybody runs their separate ways. And here we are with the Howells testing out the seeds.
Does anybody else think this was a bad idea?
What was?
Everybody being able to read each other's minds? Because I can just feel...
Go ahead.
I can just see the danger on it. Like, if you're able to read each other's minds. Like, especially, like, if your wife asks you, hey, honey, does this outfit make my butt look fat? Oh, no, honey, no. That's not what you damn thinking, you damn it.
Yeah, in reality, in my opinion, if everybody could read everybody's minds, everybody would hate each other in no time at all.
Oh, yeah. Worse than everybody already does.
Right. Let's just see if they work. So the Howells are going to test it. And I can't remember exactly what she said. I don't want to read. Like I said, guys, I'm sorry. I can't read unless I wrote down the entire script, which I did not do. I don't have the memory that an derivative Jill does.
She said she thinks it'd be good with hollandaise sauce.
The seeds, that's right. And he says this isn't a recipe contest. Now, Lovey, think of something. And she's thinking, ready. And he says it's I'm just going to go through the slides because me reading the things is just it's ruining the jokes.
Yeah, she wanted to change the
She
different
thought of
sauce.
something and he read the mind. Sorry, go ahead.
She was basically just saying she wanted to change to a different type of sauce.
Right, a different size sauce, and he agrees with her. Right. It's just that I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, it's me reading these is ruining the jokes. So I'm just going to go through the frames, and just generally explain what's going on.
Yeah.
And of course, he asked her, read my mind. And she says, I can't remember exactly what she says. She goes, that's terrible to steal seed from your own wife. So, of course, Mr. Hell is so ruthless. That's what he's thinking about, is stealing seed from Lovey. And of course, she says, why did I ever marry you? Oh, and they start arguing, of course. And now we have Skipper working on the hut. I think he's installing a window.
Yeah, then he falls down, and Gilligan thinks, well, he wouldn't have fallen if he wasn't so fat.
Right. And
That was so funny.
Before Skipper can say anything, Gilligan says, here it is. Aha. I don't have to give every order twice, says the skipper. And Gilligan says it's a lot quieter too. And he said, oh, did you have to yell that? I'm gonna go through the slides. I'm not gonna read them because it's ruining it.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So basically the whole gist of it is Skipper's yelling in his mind, and Gilligan says, well, if that's him whispering, if that's him not yelling, I would really hate to hear how loud his yell is, basically what he's saying.
Yes. And Skipper says, hand me that bamboo pole. So Gilligan grabs the pole and accidentally pushes Skipper through the hut.
That's where we get the fat joke.
A nincompoop. That's what you were thinking. So that's what Skipper was thinking about Gilligan. And of course, and not only that, and of course, that's what you were talking about. We said, if I hadn't been so fat. And of course, immediately the girls are already arguing because they're reading each other's minds. And I actually think this is what would happen in real life. If everybody could read everybody's minds, nobody would get along.
Oh, I'd be fired fired from work in the first 3 minutes.
And of course, the Howells. And the same goes for you, brother.
I thought he said for your brother.
Oh yeah, the same goes for your brother. That's right. They're arguing about their families. That's right. Thank you, Gorilla.
Yeah.
It's strange. I didn't know this episode was going to be so difficult to cover because of the theme, I guess.
Yeah, it makes it extremely difficult there. And then not only that, comedy is hard to do too. So
without ruining it, right? Because people have asked me if I'll cover other comedies, and I told them no. I said after Gilligan's Island, I don't want to. I don't want to ruin good stuff.
All right, I already said that right away when we were doing the first episode because I overanalyze this stuff.
Yep, you can't do that with comedy. It's got to be natural. It's got to flow.
Yeah,
uninterrupted. Now they're talking about how everybody's fighting. If they can read each other's minds.
Yeah.
So did I, Go ahead.
Oh, there's a comment I want to address, so might as well catch up on all 5 of them.
Thank you.
And PBB says, I'm glad we can't read each other's minds. It will be scary. That's why we filter our thoughts before we say things. Wait. There's a filter for that?
Well, for most of us, I have known people who don't have a filter, unfortunately.
I try, but it slips through. And PvP says creatures from the LD. From the okay. And Scurvy here says, I agree, PvP. It's hard enough dealing with people express it as it is. Well, Scurvy, the reason that it's so tough nowadays is because too many people have gotten the privilege of running their mouth without getting their ass whooped for running their mouth. That's the problem.
Can you imagine if you had a person that could read minds doing job interviews? My God, they'd never hire anybody.
Yeah. And PvP says, yes, Scurvy, very true. And he's laughing. And PvP, this is one I wanted to highlight here. Am I the only one finding this episode a bit weird? Yeah, it was weird, and it does not make any sense at all. It's a really great episode.
If you're watching it, it totally makes sense. It's because the way we're presenting it is why it's confusing. That's why I feel bad. But watching it, it all makes sense. Right, Gorilla?
Yeah. And spoiler alert, I thought this was my favorite one tonight. But, and check out Phantom Boomer's channel for watch parties. Alrighty. Hey, Scurvy, can you put Mikey's link in the channel chat for everybody? I know he was asking that earlier.
Yeah, and I will add that to the stream elements.
Yeah, Scurvy has that. He's usually.
Thank you, Lemon Pie. So basically, the professor said that he thought that if everybody could eat the seeds, it'd bring world peace. And then he says to Gilligan, what do you mean that's a stupid idea? So Gilligan was thinking that. And Gilligan says, all I mean is that the seven of us taking the seeds just can't get along. I know what you mean, but that's no reason to be insulting, says the professor. And he slams the book shut and then walks off. Storms off, I guess.
Well, we'll never have world peace because we don't trust each other. And part of that trust is you wouldn't get that trust if you could read each other's mind at all. You wouldn't get that trust.
Nope. Can you imagine, though, getting all the politicians on stage, president and everybody, and then not telling them and giving them those seeds? Or, give us the seeds where we can read their mind. So I got that backwards. But, of course, if you read the current president's mind, it'd be gibberish.
Oh, it's so tempted to go. I was so tempted to play that clip. It sounds something like this. I was so tempted to just clip that clip. Play that clip.
So here they are arguing. You don't think I do my share of the work, do you? And so here's where the girls are arguing about that. But you thought it. She goes, I didn't say that, but you thought it.
Yeah, she doesn't do her share of the work, though.
I know. We all know that.
Yeah.
Oh, so I loaf and try to get Gilligan and Skipper to do my work, do I? I should stop using my head and use my back for a change. So here they are arguing. Like I said, I probably best not to read the subtitles. Please watch this episode.
Yeah. Well, Professor he does plenty of work around there, and he's the brains. So he's one he saved us kids quite a bit. Now, if they will say that about Mr. Howell, yes, of course.
Right. Yes, I would say I agree. And the professor earns his fair share. He's gotten him out of quite a few spots, and he's really helped with his knowledge, obviously. So, right, if anything, the Howells do the least amount of work, which I'm sure we can all agree on. But they are the Howells, after all. So we cut to Gilligan with the supposed bush, which he's already uprooted, and he's setting on fire.
Yep.
And here come the rest of the castaways looking for him. Go ahead.
Yeah, magically everybody knew exactly which direction to go.
Right. I think I saw Gilligan go this way. So apparently they were following him. I'll pay the rest of you $1,000 apiece for the seeds, says Mr. Howell. And he says, I'm burning the bush with the mind-reading seeds. And Mr. Howell tries to grab it. Oh, that's smart, so I burnt my little pinky. Did you burn all the seeds? Says the professor. And he says, yes, I suppose you think it's the dumbest thing I ever did. And now that we can't read minds, maybe we could be friends again, huh?
Yeah. But
At first, they're
in all fairness, though, they could have just grabbed the bush by the roots and shook the fire out real quick. It wasn't burning up that quick yet.
I know, and it was a pretty small bush to get all those seeds, those bags and bags of seeds from.
Yeah.
And in reality, also, I mean, think about it. It's like, okay, you can search the island. There's probably more bushes just like that.
Yeah.
But of course, then we wouldn't be able to end the episode.
Yeah. Well, they could have ended it with everybody searching for more bushes. Now that they know what it looks like.
True. So Gilligan says, I bet you think that was pretty dumb, huh? And Skipper says, Gilligan, for a guy who's always doing dumb things, when you do something smart, it's beautiful. And Mr. Howell's not mad either. You're not mad? No, I'm not mad, even though I lost a fortune, he says.
Yeah, and his reason and Gilligan's reason is justified. Because everybody got along relatively good before they could read each other's minds.
Right, and he did say that. It's just that we missed it with the subtitles, right? Gilligan did say that. Everybody was getting along just great.
Yeah, and once you lose that privacy of being able to criticize the person in your mind and not actually say it, then you basically dissolve into anarchy.
Yes.
Us being able to restrain our emotions and our thoughts are what makes us strive.
Yep. So now we cut to later on that night. Reading people's minds can cause more trouble than a hurricane. And how? Are you sure you destroyed all the seeds? And he says, yes. He says, oh, that's good. I have a list of things for you to do tomorrow. And Gilligan says, but I want to go fishing tomorrow. He says, well, Gilligan, nobody says you can't go fishing. I mean, after you bring up some firewood, bring up some well water, dig a drainage ditch, fix the lobster traps.
And I know some people you can delegate some of that work to.
Exactly, right? And you can see Gilligan is frustrated here too. It's not that often you get that look on Gilligan's face. And we get our closing credits. And this is a tale about castaways.
And something about a Robin Crusoe.
Yes, something about Robinson Crusoe. And remember, everybody is reminded, Tina Louise is the only surviving cast member, unfortunately. How are we doing on the chats?
I was going to do that while you brought up the next episode.
Thank you.
So, PvP says Gold Digger Ginger. They says Magical Bean Bush. And PvP says this episode gives new meaning to the saying, having one's mind. And I'll be right back.
Go for it. All right, everybody. I'll get this next. As a reminder, there's a poll in the chat. So we covered our first episode of Gilligan's Island. Let me explain what's going on here. That was the episode Seer Gilligan, Seer. And the next episode coming up, which we're going to cover now, is Love Me, Love My Skipper, which originally premiered on February 3rd of 1966. And the summary goes as follows. When everybody mistakenly believes that the skipper wasn't invited to the Howells cotillion, they hold a masquerade party of their own and don't invite the Howells. So we have our opening credits here, and our heroes, and our 3-hour tour.
Alrighty. I am back.
Okay. And we have the introduction of our wonderful cast. And we open on the shot of the lagoon. And the same hut we see all the time. And it looks like Mr. Howells standing in front of the mirror, and he's got his tuxedo jacket on, and Mrs. Howells taking notes, apparently writing out invitations. And he says, of course, Mr. Howells says, "Oh, well, let's see if we can." Oh, subtitles. Almost forgot.
Yeah, he's asking if anybody would notice that he's using last year's coattails. I was like, I'm so glad I don't have that problem where I have to worry about what I wear.
Exactly, same here. There we go. You got. I got the right ones.
Like really, who gives a crap what you're wearing if you're wearing something that's last year's coattails? Does anybody
Only
even remember?
people. I know. I wear jeans and t-shirt. You know how you gonna know when and where it was made and all that garbage. But that's what some people do. You know, with fashion, they got to be wearing the newest things.
And unless it's something really elegant, do you think that anybody's gonna even remember what the heck you're wearing a year ago?
And well, unfortunately, some people are obsessed with that, and they would point it out. You know, you're wearing last year's jacket, and I'd say, "Oh, well, there's the door." There are some people. So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
Right. So Mrs. Howell's writing the invitations, and there are some people in the mainland I wanted to invite this year, she says. As the year that time stood still. Oh, lovey, yes, dear. Here's where he says it. You think you'll notice that my tails are last year's. And it may start a whole new trend, she says. Yes. Like the time I wore a carnation made of shredded $100 bills. Oh, what daring I had in those days.
I wish I had that kind of money.
I know, right? Oh, my poor dear, you must be exhausted. Making out the invitations without a secretary. I wish there was something that I could do, he says.
Oh, poor Mrs. Howell having to write out 5 invitations. It's so
I know.
exhausting. Causing the hand to cramp. Poor Mrs. Howell.
Exactly. Well, they're so used to having servants do everything for them.
Yeah.
And she says, Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is one of those episodes where I could just sit there and mock it. You know, because it's so outlandish, you know.
It is. It's over the top. Yeah, I agree. So Mr. Howell says, I wish there was something I could do. Oh, yes, of course I could. And she says, how about you hand out the invitations or deliver them? And he says, yes, of course I could.
Oh, how dare her ask him to actually do something.
I know, right? Physical labor? What do you think I am, a male person? Gotta make sure I hate the way they're changing things. I see you invited them all. Well, I thought it'd be best under the circumstances. He says, that's very democratic of you in a Republican sort of way. Is everybody happy as he leaves? So here he is getting ready to deliver the invitations. So he slips one under this door, which we're assuming is the professor's hut.
Yeah. That's the professor's door.
Gotcha. Oh, yes. What is it those mailmen chaps say? Neither rain nor sleet nor snow. And he's distracted. And it's hard to catch it with the slides. But he runs into the tree and he accidentally drops one of the invitations. They never said anything about trees, he says. And there it is. There's the invitation on the ground. And we have the skipper shaving, and 1, 2, we have Gilligan exercising.
Yeah, there's something I want to make a point there, because I actually kind of noticed this there, with the skippers using the old straight blade there, which does give you a better blade, and that's where a lot of barbers made their money was from shaving guys, you know, because you one wrong move and that's your last move there when you're shaving, especially around the neck. You know, you could tell when the safety blade, like the razors we got now, was invented, because our presidents went from having beards and mustaches to being clean shaven. Every single one being clean shaven.
Oh yes.
I don't know if
And now they're
you
disposable because they don't last. Obviously,
yeah,
all you had to do with those was just sharpen them.
yeah. I don't know if anybody noticed that when around the time the safety blade was introduced is when all the presidents became clean shaven. Just a fun little trivia fact.
So Gilligan is exercising, but whenever he raises, I'm worried about getting a copyright warning. But when he raises his arms, he keeps bumping the skipper like that. And of course, Skipper is worried about shaving. So he says, I hope I'm not bothering you because you got to stay in shape.
Yeah.
3,
All
4,
yeah. That whole hunting he has to do right next to Skipper.
right next to him, right?
Yeah, that
And Skipper
whole
says, if you must exercise someplace, exercise over there. Okay, Skipper, I got to do my push ups. So Gilligan walks over to the door and starts doing push ups just as Mr. Howell is delivering the invitation. 1, 2, huh? So he sticks the invitation under the door, which ends up in Gilligan's mouth. And Skipper says, now what happened? Because I was doing my push ups and somebody shoved this envelope in my mouth. Hey, it's addressed to me. And excitedly, he opens it up. It's from the Howells, inviting me to the Howells annual cotillion. Oh, Skipper, I'm going to the Howells annual cotillion. And he says, what's a cotillion? A dance. Oh, boy. So Skipper says, a dance. And then Gilligan repeats it and says, a dance. Oh, boy, I'm going. What am I excited about? I can't dance, he says.
yeah.
To be invited to the Howells annual cotillion. And now the skipper's looking for his invitation. I wonder what I'll wear. Let's see, says Gilligan. Of course, the same thing he always wears. Well, I'm looking for and he asks the skipper what he's doing. And he says, well, I'm looking for my invitation, Gilligan. And he tells Gilligan, open your mouth. Nope, it's not there. Maybe the Howells aren't going to invite me. Still, And he says, maybe they forgot. No, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Gilligan, if you see now what he does here is he puts his monkey wrench in his back pocket. And then he says, Gilligan, have you seen my monkey wrench? And Gilligan says, no. He says, oh, never mind. I think it's over at the professor's. And he sneaks out trying to hide it from Gilligan. In fact, Skipper says, I remember where it is. I'll see you later, little buddy. And he walks out. And now there it is in his back pocket. And he greets the professor who's working on an experiment. And he says, hi, Professor. Have you seen my monkey wrench? I left it somewhere on the island and I can't find it. And the professor says, no, do you remember? I don't remember exactly what the professor says. I apologize. But he says, well, I think I had it over at, and obviously Skipper's just making excuses and being nosy. And he asks him, what is he doing? He says, I'm working on a food preservative. Oh, a food preservative. Well, and he says, he picks up a bowl and says, what's this? And the professor says, sodium nitrate. And he picks up another bowl. And what's this? And he tells him what it is, which I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like sodium bromide or something like
Or
that.
chloride or something, yeah. Oh, well, what's this? So Skipper picks up, being nosy, picks up the invitation and says, oh, well, what's this? And the professor says, I get a kick out of the way it's written. It's so formal. Or request the honor of your presence. Why don't they just come out and say you're invited, he says. And then Skipper says, yeah, that's what I want. I'd like to know. And now we are in the girls' hut, already planning on what they're going to wear. And Skipper knocks on the door, come in. Oh, I'm sorry, Ginger. It's all right. Come on in, Skipper. And he asks her, did you get an invitation? She says, yeah, who hasn't? And she says, I don't know which dress to wear to the Howell Cotillion.
I thought it started with a Q.
What? Cotillion?
Yeah.
Nope, it starts with a C.
Okay, then my subtitles were different or were wrong.
Well, if you were me, which one would you wear? She asks him about her dress. Well, Ginger, I mean, you look good, he says. In both of them, what difference does it make? You can wear anything and nobody cares. And he says, yeah, that's right. Nobody cares. And of course, I don't remember exactly what she said leading up to this, but she says to be invited to the Howl Cotillion. No, I don't. I'll see you later, Ginger. So he's upset because he's thinking that he's the only one that didn't get an invitation. So here we are back at the Gilligan and Skipper's hut. Gilligan's all excited. And he says, hey, I see you found your monkey wrench. My what? Oh, yeah, my monkey wrench. And he sets it on the table. And Skipper Gilligan says, would you lend me a RSVP? I mean, if you got an extra one.
No,
RSVP,
he said a respite. He said a respite.
Yes, a RSVP. He was trying to pronounce it like a word. He doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
RSVP, it says right here in the invitation. A respite or whatever. It says right here in the invitation, I got to wear one. See, right here, respite. Gilligan, that's RSVP, says the skipper. And he says, well, what is that, Gilligan, what you're supposed to do? He says, of course, we're missing text. Is basically reply back to the Howells to let them know that you're going to be there. He says, oh, of course, of course I am. A guy'd have to be pretty stupid. Okay, Smarty, go ahead and RSVP, see if I care, says the professor. Says Skipper, being jealous. I'm sorry, it's been a long day, guys.
Yeah,
Skipper,
here.
you don't have to tell. I'm not yelling. I'd hate to hear you whisper. It's similar to the joke that he said in the last episode.
Yeah.
And I want to point this out. This is where Skipper breaks the fourth wall and actually talks to the audience. For goodness sakes, why should I let a little thing like this? So what if I'm the only one that doesn't get an invitation? It's nothing to cry about after all. I'm not a child. But why does it always have to be me? And then, of course, we couldn't see it in the slides, but he basically like starts crying or breaking down or having like a little tantrum. And now we have the Howells saying, I was thinking of extending an invitation to our October fox hunt. And she says, well, there isn't a single... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm going to catch up on chat here real quick before they get too old of chats.
Hold on. And I'm going to go grab something to drink. I'll be right back. Go ahead, Gorilla.
Okay. The PvP says the Howell's so hardworking. Not correct. And PvP says, hey, Howell trying to get through the day of the average person. Yeah, he'd never make it. It's PvP says, I'd never use a straight razor, especially near Gilligan working out. Yeah, definitely. That's one thing that stuck out to me there. That's what made me think of the whole history behind the safety blades and all that stuff. And Scurvy here says, Gilligan, don't take that. Exercise where you want to. And says, and Scurvy says, do I need our respite to be here? Nope, you just need to slip the bouncer $20. That's all. And PvP says, October fox hunt on a desert island? There's a fox somewhere around there. It doesn't necessarily have to be a fox. I'm pretty sure there's a wild boar ever. Actually, come to think about it, a lot of shows and movies, you always see these wild boars on islands and all that. And it makes you think, why the hell is there a feral boar on a deserted island? Like, how did it even get there? Like, I can understand if the islands are relatively close to land, and maybe the island split off from the mainland and it was trapped on there. But some of these islands are way out in the middle of the Pacific and all that. It's like, how the heck did it even get there? And PvP says only foxes on the island are Ginger and Marianne. And Scurvy says, Foxy ladies. Yeah. You gotta love Marianne and her Daisy Dukes, so come on. Ginger, yeah, she might have the nice dresses on that, but you can't beat Marianne and those Daisy Dukes. That's one thing I gotta say, those Daisy Dukes. And Pop is apparently still going out to get the drink there, and I am all caught up on. I don't know. The one thing I will say about this episode, this whole episode could have been solved if Skipper didn't get his invitation. You could just go to the house and ask him, "Hey, why didn't I get an invitation?" That whole episode could have been solved.
There we go.
All right. Either I scared them all away, or they're thoroughly entertained. There's no in between.
I hope they're entertained. I think they are. There isn't a single fox on the island. That's right, Mrs. Howell was saying there isn't a single fox on the island because Mr. Howell mentioned a fox hunt.
Yeah, and welcome Sean Carter. He says, "Hello, y'all."
Hail, Sean Carter. I hope you're having a great night. Good to see you, buddy. Open up my Pepsi.
Pepsi? Who the heck drinks Pepsi? I mean, or wait, I should
I know where you're from. I know where you're from. It's probably Coca-Cola, right?
Pepsi. Who the heck drinks Pepsi? I mean, no. According to Coca-Cola,
guilty is charged.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
According to Coca-Cola, I still haven't figured out how to be less white, so I can't drink Coca-Cola.
I never liked the taste of Coca-Cola. To me, it tastes like if you took Pepsi, let it go flat, and add vanilla to it. That's what Coca-Cola tastes like to me.
I stopped drinking Coke as soon as they started telling people they have to learn to be less white. So
they said that.
Yeah, they had a meeting and they dragged all their white employees in there and told them that they had to learn to be into like one of their training seminars. And they told all their white employees they had to learn how to be less white a couple of years ago.
I'm not surprised considering they're based in the South.
Yeah, so
the American South, which is the most racist part of the country. Well, I don't know. Now it's hard to tell. It seems like it's the American South, and on both coasts, on the seems to be California and New York.
So I stopped drinking Coca-Cola.
Well, I'm proud to say I never started. All right, and shame on them for doing that. We'll put one of your meat coats on Gilligan, says Mr. Howell. Of course, they're still planning on the cotillion. Hello there, Mrs. Howell. Mr. Howell, says the skipper. The best, that is, if you haven't got a lot of work to do. They're asking them how they're doing. The best, that is, if you haven't got a lot of work to do. Work, says Mrs. Howell. Well, what I meant is getting ready for the dance. Oh, yes, there are a million things to be done, she says. And he says, well, that's why I thought maybe I could help. Trying to be coy. And I can't remember exactly what they said, but he asked about the invitation. He said, can I help with the invitation? She says, oh, they're all out. And Mr. House says, I delivered them myself. I'm simply exhausted.
Yeah. I still don't see why. Like I was mentioning, this whole episode could have been solved in 5 minutes there. I was like, well, like, why did you just go straight up to him and just go, hey, what? Did I do something to offend you? Why didn't I get an invitation? Mr. Howell go, of course we sent you one, they could have had this whole thing cleared up, That's the one thing that I was kind of nitpicking at the back of my mind, the whole episode.
Honestly, I understand what you're saying, but I wouldn't do that. I would probably take it like the skipper would. But what I would do, I wouldn't approach them at all. I mean, even though, we know what the plot of this episode is. But if somebody, like, let's say we have a group of friends, and everybody got an invitation, and I did not, I would not go up to them and ask them why I didn't get it. I would just simply say, well, then I guess they don't want me there, and I would just leave it at that. So I guess it depends on the person.
I guess I like the confrontation more.
You like you like the drama. Mr. Held, naturally, it's the first thing you do. And they're all excited about coming to the party, so Skipper's trying to drop a hint. Well, as well, they should be, after all, says Mr. Howell. It isn't everyone who gets an invitation to the Howell cotillion. And Skipper says, yeah, I know. Of course, they don't understand what he means. By Mr. and Mrs. Howell. Oh, we got a shadow in front of the skipper. What do you know? We got camera crew blocking the light.
I didn't even notice.
I didn't notice till I saw that frame. I forgot when I didn't notice when I was watching the episode. But yeah, that's clearly a shot. See, that's camera equipment. Strange man, says Mr. Howell. Oh, this. Oh yeah, this reminds me of what I mentioned earlier. See, Gilligan's back to a white hat again. So
Okay.
there's got to be some reason for this, says Gilligan. I mean, you must have said something to offend the Howells, Skipper. And Skipper says, I can't think of anything. And Gilligan says, well, you spilled soup all over Mr. Howell. Gilligan, I didn't spill the soup. You did, says the Skipper. Oh, yeah, well, how about that time? Oh, yeah, that was me, too. It's like, okay. And he mentioned something else, and he says, and he smashed into bits. He says, maybe you don't pay enough attention to him. Well, it's a possibility, says the Skipper. And Skipper says, why don't you go to the party and enjoy yourself? I'll stay here and be all by myself, of course, feeling sorry for himself. And he says, Skipper, I can't forget all about you. I mean, you're the skipper. If you don't go to the party, I don't go to the party, says Gilligan. What did you say, Gilligan? He says, I'm going to stay right here with you. And Skipper says,
well, we know who Gilligan's loyal to there.
It makes sense, too.
That shows great loyalty right there.
And I would do the same thing. If I had a friend who got an invitation, or if I got the invitation and my friend didn't, I wouldn't go. Because I would be loyal to my friend. And obviously Skipper and Gilligan have known each other much longer than they've known the Howells. So I think that's excellent.
Yeah, at least 20 years that they've served in the war together.
Uh-huh. Gilligan, the Howells may be snooty, but I'm not. Oh, Gilligan, Skipper is very humbled. He says, I want to tell you, I really appreciate what you're doing. And where I go, you go. And wherever I go, you go. Yeah, here's what I think of the Howells and their invitation. And he tosses it over on the table. Thanks, Skipper, says Gilligan. Gilligan, look what I found, says the Skipper. I wonder what I'll wear. And, of course, immediately the Skipper is acting like the invitation is for him. Skipper, says Gilligan. Gilligan, I'll tell you. Skipper, you wouldn't. Ha, 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 knock, knock. And he says he was just joking. And here comes Ginger and the girls. And the professor. Hi, Skipper. Say, did you get your invitation? So they're all starting to realize what's going on. And he says, no, he didn't. Oh, I think that's terrible, says the professor. Or Mary Ann, I'm trying to remember. Or Ginger, I can't remember exactly who said that.
I think they all pretty much said the same. They all pretty much said the same thing.
Yeah, they're all in agreement. That's why I'm having trouble remembering who exactly said it. But this is definitely Ginger. What's that?
It's pretty much all the same thing, except that she'll save a number of dances with Skipper.
Yes. If the Skipper isn't going, I'm not going either. Well, isn't that nice of Gilligan? Says the Skipper. And the professor says, and I think I shall send my regrets to the Howells also. Or you can count on me too. You can count on me too. How about you, Ginger? Says Mary Ann. Well, you bet. Imagine inviting everybody but the Skipper, she says. I wouldn't dream of going to a party. And besides, there won't be any single men to dance with, she says.
Oh.
Well, there's 3 of them right there, but oh well. Oh, but I can't let you all do this, says the Skipper.
Yeah. Here, let's catch up on chats real quick because there's one
Thank
there
you.
else.
Thank you, sir.
And Scurvy is waving at Sean, and Scurvy here also says Pepsi is greater than Coke. Sean says hi,
There you
Scurvy. And PvP says hi, Sean. Sean says PvP, hello. Here's Oiler Greg's channel for your spoiler-free reviews. And PvP says, let me guess, they all boycott the party. Yep. He goes, yellow, I guess that one, right?
In fact, what they do is they say, we're going to have our own party in honor of the Skipper. And they say that's a wonderful idea. Yeah,
So
why don't we have a masquerade? Go ahead, Gorilla. Sorry.
so it's a boycott.
Boycott.
Well, no, they boycott the house party and pretty much have a boycott by hosting their own party.
Oh, I hadn't heard of that. Boycott?
Yeah. Oh, boycott. That's a new term that's been kind of coined in the last couple of years when people say so that so like right now Bud Light's being boycotted and everybody. So basically, people are buying up all this other stuff as like when they say, "Oh, don't buy this stuff," it's because of this reason that people will go and buy that stuff to say as a kind of like a yeah, we're gonna support this company. It's basically supporting a company
Gotcha.
or supporting a person by buying their stuff. So it's like a boycott.
Okay, gotcha. BUI.
Yeah,
Okay, I thought you were saying like BI. But I understand. Okay, I appreciate that for you spelling it out.
yeah.
So they say, yeah, why don't we have a masquerade party? What do I say? So he's flattered and humbled. And I RSVP myself right now, he says, so he'll be there. And Mr. House says, a lovely morning stroll, another beautiful sun-drenched carefree day. Well, my dear, what have we here? And she looks and sees the invitation on the table. These are the RSVPs from the other castaways. And he says, who would decline an invitation from the Howells? She says, well, that's true. This one's from Gilligan. And then he says, I didn't know he could write. And she says, dear Mr. and Mrs. Howell, I am fine. Hope you are the same. Thank you for your invitation. But I have just been invited to a previous engagement, which I can. And of course, we miss him between the slides. But he says, I can't make it to your party. Well, is he coming or isn't he coming? Says Mr. Howell. I'm not sure, but I don't think he is, she says. And he says, who would decline the invitation from the Howells? And she says, this is from the professor. And he says, yes. And he's basically, it's the same thing. And so is Ginger. They're all going to a party in honor of the skipper, she says. Oh, Thurston, I think I'm going to faint. And he says, remember, you're a owl.
Oh, don't faint.
All right. And they're not coming to our cotillion, but they're going to a party.
And they did invite them.
Right. They haven't even been asked to. And he says, oh, Lovey. She says, yes, Thurston. She says, I may pass out. He says, I just may beat you to the floor, he says.
Yeah.
There, my dear, my precious one. Of course, he's fanning her to keep her conscious. The invitation to our party, but not to invite us to theirs. Oh, what are people coming to? One of my ranches in Africa declared itself a free nation. The humiliation of it. Thurston, dear, I've made up my mind. Here, of course, we're missing a lot of the dialogue you're saying, which I feel bad about. So I know you've heard this 50 times tonight, but I'm going to make it 51. I recommend you watch this episode so you catch all the jokes so we don't completely ruin it. I still don't understand how anyone could decline a Howell invitation.
Well,
what could you have done to offend them? Sorry, go ahead, Gorilla.
Oh, yeah. Well, the funny thing is, nobody's talking to each other about it, They're all just going to kind of just like splitting off into two groups here, two sides.
Yes. And once again, like before, it's all because of a misunderstanding.
Yep.
And of course, she immediately blames him. What could you have done to offend them? Me, the epitome of charm and grace, offend someone? Yes, I know most of the time you are sweet and lovable, but there are times when you're a ninny. And he goes, a ninny? Now you take that back.
Yeah. No, this is funny. Mr. Howell has the same ego as Trump does, but he has also the same amount of charm. Take that how you like. Take that how you will.
And this is funny too. I like this, where she says, "Yes, and only yesterday at the beach you ranted and raged at poor Gilligan in front of everybody." And Mr. Howell, I hope I can catch it and he says, "Well, yeah, the clumsy oaf stepped on my sandcastle." Mr. Howell's always a child at heart. Nevertheless, it was most humiliating, she says. "Well, very well, Mrs. Howell," he says. "I'm going to leave and I'm not coming back. And I'm going to my club," he says. "I'll send for my things later." And he storms out the door. "And I know someone else that isn't going to your silly cotillion." So she was basically saying that we'll have our own. And now he's saying, "Well, I'm leaving. You can go to your own cotillion." And here we have the skipper getting ready for the masquerade party, which, this is Gilligan's Island. And, obviously this is not scientific fact and it's not a documentary. But out of nowhere, they seem to have a big wide selection of costumes.
Yeah.
15, and skipper is singing 15 men on a dead man's chest. Yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum.
Yeah. 15 men on a dead man's chest. So ho ho, and a bottle of rum. All right, let's catch up on chat because there's a couple relative to the scenes here.
Thank you.
Scott says, the more interesting question to me is a hot dog a sandwich? That debate's been long and settled. The real question is cereal a soup? And Scurvy says, like buying Chick-fil-A when people tried to boycott them because they are Christian. Oh yeah, they had lines around the building when they stood.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, made them a lot of money.
Yeah, so basically that's the perfect example right there. Yeah, PvP says, "LOL, love the Howells getting rejected by everyone." And Sean says, "Oh my, I just realized I was an hour behind on the video for some reason."
Oh,
Don't you? Oh, the worst part is when you comment on something, then they're going in the chat. Go, what the hell is he even talking about?
I know. We do try to keep up with the chat, and that's why we try not to get too far behind, guys.
No, I accidentally hit the thing where I ended up like 2 hours behind on the thing. I put something in the chat, and they're like, "What the hell's Gorilla even talking about?"
Yes, I've done that. It's embarrassing, but it happens to us all.
Oh, I left it off. I just told him, "Oops, I was a little behind on the thing there." And PvP says, "Deflate those snobby egos." And Scurvy here is asking what a ninny is.
What's another word for sissy?
Yeah. And Peter, not Finity, is giving us some popcorn.
There he is. Hello, Peter, or Captain.
And Boomer says a hot dog is a taco. Yeah, PvP says, what? Gilligan's Island is a documentary? Illusion shattered.
Well, I know. Sorry to tell you.
I'm sorry we had to break your poor heart there, PvP, but yep, it is not a documentary.
No.
Alrighty, we're all caught up.
So we have the skipper doing his best Long John Silver impersonation of us, or make ready to walk the plank. Is that what you're going to wear to the masquerade party, says Gilligan? And of course, Gilligan doesn't understand. He doesn't get the reference of the costume. It's great. Who are you supposed to be? The skipper says, Little Bo Peep. Go ahead.
No, something. I couldn't remember exactly what Skipper said, but you caught it.
And this is funny. Gilligan says, I know why you lost your sheep, Little Bo Peep. But of course, we can't get the punchline. But he says you only have one peeper because of the right, because of the eye patch. Oh, it's my own fault, and I had to go fish him out. I don't know what to wear to the party. I don't have a costume, says Gilligan. And he says, well, now why don't you go over to the supply hut? There's a lot of junk in there, and maybe you could pick out something.
Yeah.
And he says, wait a minute, Gilligan. Go ahead.
This was all pretty funny scene there.
I know. That's why I hope we don't ruin the humor, guys. You know, that's the reason why we're doing the stream, is to encourage you to watch the show, not the opposite, not the other way around. So Skipper says, wait a minute, Gilligan, since you're going over there, take these bags with you. Okay, Skipper, you know, I might find some stuff there to make a pirate costume. So Gilligan goes and gets stuck in the door. And Gilligan gets stuck in the door, and Skipper kicks him in the butt and pushes him out.
Yeah.
And there we have Skipper Gilligan walking, and he stumbles and falls, and lo and behold, before his very eyes is Skipper's invitation. And he says, oh, it's addressed to the Skipper. Looks like an invite. And then he realizes, Skipper. And we get a blur here for a scene edit. I don't know how I could have been so hard on the house as the Skipper. Yeah, they'd never throw a party without inviting everyone.
Yeah. Oh, they deserved it for something they've done throughout the last week.
Yeah, you're right about that. I don't think you were stupid after all. I had the same idea. Well, the first thing we got to do is, we go over and tell them it was a misunderstanding. Wait a minute, we can't apologize to the Howells because they're not living together. And he says he's over in the supply hut away from that woman, quoting Mr. Howell.
Oh, then he does the voices there, and because he does, Mrs. Howell goes, she's in her hut going, being away from that man, and Mr. Howell's in the supply hut, being away from that woman.
Right. Well, in that case, and thank you for clarifying that, Gorilla, I'll go tell Mr. Howell, you go tell Mrs. Howell. And they bump into each other, and of course they do this. Gilligan, for goodness sakes, Skipper, wait.
Yeah.
And out of frustration, of course, we get the usual. And we have Mrs. Howell. I can imagine how you must have felt, Skipper. Yes, Mrs. Howell, but everything's straightened out now. Yeah, yes, and as that man always said, all's well that ends well.
Uh-huh.
Well, but that's just it, Mrs. Howell. Everything isn't well. What with you and Mr. Howell being separated? Well, I feel terrible about it, Mrs. Howell. I feel like it's all my fault. Now, Skipper, actually, you did me a favor, she says. You showed me Thurston Howell III in his true light. He's arrogant, bigoted, childish, selfish, dreadful, and inconsiderate. Come on, Mrs. Howell, he's not that bad. Come on now. And she says, no, those are his good points. And he says, come on now, Mrs. Howell. Oh, to think what I gave up to marry that man.
What did you give up?
What did you give up? Well, I can't think right now. He said, Mrs. Howell, I know you're all steamed up now, but after you cool off, you'll realize how much you really do love Mr. Howell. Never. He's a closed chapter in my life, she says. I shall pick up the threads and seek a new life. Tell me, do they take women in the Foreign Legion? No. But oh well.
Foreign Legion, ain't that a civilian Air Force?
French Foreign Legion, it's like an army kind of thing, but it's for life. You sign up and you're in there for life.
Don't make the joke, Gorilla. Don't make the joke. Don't make the joke, Gorilla.
And there we are. There we are at the supply hut. Isn't that the same door that you said was the professor's hut? Interesting.
Yeah, they probably used the same set.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of want to know why they all have different doors. You think they all had like a universal design?
Yeah, I know. And this one is really, and I guess it makes sense. It's the supply hut. Because this door is a lot more reinforced and sturdier than the other ones. The other ones are all made out of grass and bamboo. Yeah, now that everything's explained, so we have Gilligan talking to Mr. Howell. And he's asking Mr. Howell if he wants to go to the party. No, as far as I'm concerned. as I feel toward. He says no because Mr. Howell is from Harvard, and he says he's not gonna. He doesn't want to be there because Mrs. He feels toward Mrs. Howell as if she's a Yale man. He says. Yeah, are you mad? Never. Should have married her in the first place. He said. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. And PvP here said, so one failed party in the house separated after years together? Well, they're not used to being rejected, so they're blaming
But
each other.
especially when you have two people that are always demanding attention. Exactly.
This is just the equivalent of you go sleep on the couch. This is basically what it is.
Right. And I love how he's got his little teddy there to keep him comfort.
Yeah. It's not necessarily a separation. It's more of, I don't want you here. Go sleep on the damn couch.
Right. Lovers quarrel. And Mr. Howell says, "You're not married, are you, Gilligan? I can never be as good as a wife as she is." And says Gilligan, If I knew then what I know now," he says, could I help it if I was handsome, charming, and debonair? Well, could I? Well, answer me, could I? And Gilligan doesn't say anything. And he says, "Just agree with me. Don't say anything." A simple nod will do. And that's Gilligan's reply. I'm not sure what to say. But we must share the responsibility for the Howells separation, says the professor. I sure think we ought to take some of the blame. Well, I certainly think we ought to do something. How about you, Gilligan? And Gilligan nods his head. And that's twice in a row Gilligan nods his head. And Skipper says, "Gilligan, will you stop?" And here come the girls. And they say hello. And Marianne nods her head. They ask Marianne a question. She nods her head. And Gilligan acts like he's getting ready to hit her with his hat. And Skipper stops. Gilligan stops him. And Gilligan, for goodness sakes.
Yeah. And Scurvy here, he's asking, did we find out why Skipper was invited? Yes, we did. We seen it at the beginning of the episode that Mr. Howell ran into a tree and dropped it. And Gilligan happened to find it here not too long ago.
Right. So they realize now that it was just a mistake, that Skipper, there was no intention of him not being invited. They didn't intend to invite him, but Mr. Howell dropped the invitation. But now at this point, the Howells are upset and they're temporarily separated because they're arguing. And they're trying to figure out how to alleviate that and get them back together. "So will you be quiet so we can devise a plan?" says Skipper. "Haven't you figured anything out yet?" "The only thing we know, it's not going to be easy," says the professor. And Ginger says, "Let's see, the plan must be devious, underhanded, and sly." In other words, she says basically a woman. Let a woman do it. So
Yeah.
Ginger goes to Mrs. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Scurvy here said, I was a little late. That's why I didn't know. Thanks. Yep, not a problem, Scurvy.
"Oh, yeah, no problem, Kirby." And Ginger's talking, lemon pie. Sorry, I usually try not to say that. So, Mrs.
I
Howell.
wrote it up for you, huh?
No, I don't know. I don't do that. But, I'm sorry, everybody. I've been up since like 5 a.m. this morning. And I spent the whole day in the hospital. A lot of it, many hours in the waiting room. It's just, I'm not the person to make excuses. It's just that I am kind of exhausted. I'm going to pass out as soon as this stream's over.
Yeah, we're almost done.
So we have Ginger talking to Mrs. Howell, and she says, "As long as the cotillion's off, Mrs. Howell." And she invites Mrs. Howell to Skipper's party. And, "Oh, no, thank you, Ginger. I couldn't possibly," she says. She says, "Oh, well, you'd have a wonderful time." She says, "But I'm not in a party mood right now. Besides, that man, is he going to be there? I hope so." Ginger says, "I hope so," because Mrs. Howell definitely does not want to see him. I can't remember the exact words. Sorry, guys. "Well, that's too bad, Mrs. Howell," says Ginger, "because I had the most wonderful costume in mind for you." And, of course, that gets her attention. "You did? What's it like?" And she says, well, it's an Oriental dancing girl, she says. But seeing as you're not going. She says, and Mrs. Howell, of course, immediately stands up and says, yes, I am. And Ginger says, then you are? And Mrs. Howell starts doing an Oriental dance. So, yeah, that's all it took to convince her. So now we have the beautiful Marianne talking to Mr. Howell, trying to convince him. Honestly, you'll have a wonderful time, she says. No, Marianne, it would be very awkward, he says. I'm not in the mood for parties. And will that woman be there? Of course, he asks the same question. And she says yes. And he says, well, in that case, definitely not. I'll not go to a party that includes someone that considers me a ninny.
It's kind of funny here. After the fight, they don't refer to them as each other's names as that man or that woman.
Yes, exactly. They want to say their names. So Marianne says, she said that? He goes, yes, that's what she called me. She called me a ninny. Since my nanny called me a ninny. And we kind of missed the song, but he makes a reference to, or we missed what they said exactly because of the text. But he said that would make a good song. And now we get a transition, and he's making drinks. You see, Teddy, for the ideal, of course, he's talking to Teddy. You see, Teddy, for the ideal martini, it must be 15 parts. And there we are. He's mixing drinks. Aha. A toast to himself. And here comes Ginger. Oh. And she says, hello, Mr. Howell. I can't remember exactly what she says, but he says, no, as a matter of fact, you saved me from drinking alone. Oh, what says I hear? You're not coming to our party? He says, that's right. I'm accepting no social engagements during this rather unpleasant interlude. And she says, I was counting on you coming. After all, you're the best dancer on the island, she says. And of course, appeal to his ego. Oh, can't a man keep a secret, he says. And he starts dancing, and she says, go, Mr. Howell. And he's dancing. Olay, you've got to come, Mr. Howell, she says. Well, it might be awkward. It would embarrass Mrs. Howell, he says. Oh, it wouldn't embarrass her, please. Just one little dance, she says. Please. And of course, he's convinced. Oh, good. I'll be waiting for you, Mr. Howell. Just so you know, me, and she tells him that she's going to be dressed as Marie Antoinette.
Marie Antoinette, who is that?
Famous, very, well, I don't want to mess it up here. God, even my eyes, I'm struggling to keep them open. Hold on just a second.
Oh, I suppose I can.
She was a famous person from a long time ago, a famous beauty. I don't want to misquote it. Antoinette. So he kisses her hand and he accepts the invitation. How sweet it is. That's him doing an impersonation of the great Jackie Gleason, who played Sheriff Buford T. Justice on Smokey the Bandit. That was Jackie Gleason's famous line, how sweet it is. Now we are back at the girl's head.
Oh, wait, she was Queen of France there. She was the Queen of France, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or Queen Consort, I should say. And she was married to Louis the 16th.
Yes. She was his consort. That's how you would describe it. Yeah, she was his consort. Oh, is Mrs. Howell coming or is... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot how the royalty works there. If the family line, if the son becomes the king there through the family line there, then the wife is the consort there. But if the daughter becomes the queen, then the husband's the consort or something like that. Right. I forgot about that.
Wow, it's almost midnight for you. Okay. Yeah, we need to definitely wrap this up. I'm sorry. I know you got to work tomorrow. Oh, Mrs. Howell coming or isn't he? Or, I mean, I'm almost finished taking up to him on Mrs. Howell's costume. Well, now you can let it way down, she says. What? She says, I know what I'm doing. And we cut to the Howl hut, and Ginger comes in and, oh, Ginger, I just tried on this costume. It's way too long, says Mrs. Howell. And she said, that's funny. I tried on mine, and it's way too short. What are we going to do? The party's in a few hours, says Mrs. Howell. There's only one thing we can do. We'll have to swap costumes, says Ginger. And you go as Marie Antoinette. Oh, it's a marvelous idea, says Mrs. Howell. I feel very relieved. I might have got cold in this. But you can catch more than a cold in this, she says, hinting, of course. And there we have. I'm not sure who I'm trying to think. I guess I'm thinking too much into it on who Marianne's supposed to be. I'm not sure. But okay, we'll continue. Ginger, where's Mrs. Howell? And here we have, hey, Skipper, that's some outfit you got. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mary Ann's supposed to be, or however the hell you do it.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely true there. So, Professor says, hey, Skipper, that's some outfit you've got. Well, I like yours too, Julius. Haha. So, a second reference to Julius Caesar tonight. Well, he'll be here. And where's Gilligan now? He'll be here any minute now. There he is now. And of course, we have Gilligan up in the tree, apparently doing his best Tarzan impersonation, I'm guessing. And then he coughs as he pounds on his chest. And he swings down, unfortunately, into the hut. Oh, little buddy.
Yeah, I can see that coming a mile away.
I know exactly, right? And here they help Gilligan over to rest on the, I guess, chair, lounge, whatever it's called. Get his feet up there. That's right. And their Skipper has Long John Silver. And it's funny because we just covered that Lost in Space episode last week, or the week before. Was it last week with the pirate with the bird on the shoulder?
That was last week.
Yeah, we just happened to cover that. And this is what Skipper basically dressed at. It's the same thing, Long John Silver with the bird on the shoulder. I didn't want him to play Tarzan. I told him, but he says, oh, poor Gilligan. And of course, there comes Mr. Howell. And there's Mrs. Howell dressed as Marie Antoinette. You're like, okay, I wonder where they dug up these costumes, but okay, I guess we're not supposed to ask that. And of course, Mr. Howell thinking.
There's a chest that floated in. There's a chest that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That chest with all the movie making equipment and costumes and stuff. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. You
I was making a joke about that word too.
Yeah, because there was an episode where that chest washed up on the lagoon and it had a bunch of costumes in it.
Oh, I was making a joke, but that explanation works too. So.
Yes. So Mr. Howell thinking that this is Ginger, because Ginger said she would be dressed as Marie Antoinette. So Mr. Howell's saying, my queen. And he says, let's dance. And they start dancing. But unfortunately, they're tripping over each other's feet. And he says, oops, I'm terribly sorry. He says, I'm used to dancing with my wife, he says. And they're still, of course, they're all concerned about Gilligan. And he says, I'm all right. And here they are, they continue to dance. He says, I can only dance there with my wife, you see, he says. Wife, you can't tell who each other is, but oh well.
Yeah.
And he says, Mr. Howell says to her, it's no use, Ginger. But beneath the little boy's suit is a broken man. And I can't go on without my dear wife, he says. I wish I could tell her, but I just can't. So please forgive me. Remember, he still thinks he's talking to Ginger. Oh, my darling, I do forgive you, she says. She takes off her mask. Lovey, it's you. I want to apologize. No, but first I must apologize. Oh, no, dear, I must apologize first. No, I insist. No, I insist. Back and forth. And everybody's happy. They see that the Howells are happy and united again. And they each ask them if they would like to dance. Mr. Howell, it's my dance. All of our dances are taken, he says. And him and Levy continue dancing. And Ginger and Skipper dance. And now we cut to the next day. Aftermath of the party. And apparently there's a big mess. Gilligan
the
comes
frat
out.
party.
Yeah, exactly right. It's like, okay, I guess it was a food fight.
Yeah,
Hi,
it's a
Skipper.
big
That
old
sure
frat
was
party.
some. Yes, that sure was some party. And Skipper says, "I used to hate parties until I found out how much fun they were. We should have a party once a week." And he says, "Certainly we should. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I just love parties." "You love parties, huh?" And he says, "Yeah." "Well, this is on the other end of this broom and he said, I can't remember the exact words, but he says on the other, he's clean up. He's telling Gillian to clean up the mess. Sorry, we missed a joke once again in between the subtitles.
Well, it's
And
like, if
Gilligan's
you love parties so much, get on the other side of this broom and clean it up.
yes,
Something like that.
and he says, and Gilligan says me, and then the skipper says, "Well, you don't expect me to do it." And the skipper sits down on that same lounge. I guess that's the word for it, lounge. And Gilligan starts sweeping. And here's the second time in this episode, because that's why I mentioned it earlier. Earlier in the episode, we had Skipper break the fourth wall, is the term, and then talk directly to the audience. And once again, we get the same thing. And Gilligan does the same thing in the same episodes. Boy, I sure do hate party. And he goes about sweeping the floor, sand.
I will say they do an excellent job in this movie of breaking the fourth wall. Unlike that She-Hulk show where they were doing that breaking the fourth wall, that was like, ugh. But they do an excellent job in this, doing that.
And I'm glad to say I don't know what you're talking about because I never saw that show. Thank goodness. Spared myself. All right, there we go. Okay, so Gorilla, without further ado, first, how are we doing on the chat?
Just a couple of them here. Let's.
All right, let's do that before we give our review.
And Gervy here says it's okay, LOL. Gorilla's fault when anyone calls me that. Hey, Scurvy, it's tradition, like the eggnog joke. It's tradition. And PvP here says, "Come on, just get enough of that fermented coconut juice in everyone, and it will be party on."
Absolutely, right?
And what? And I think we're getting a bunch
Applause.
of champagne. No, that's
champagne. Cheers. Cheers. Okay. I had to like squint.
Yeah, I had to blow it up. And Scurvy says, "True PvP." And PvP says, "Yes," and she died on the guillotine during the French Revolution. Oh, I thought that was. I thought that was Henry Louis the 18th. But anyhow, Peter says,
a lot of people.
What was that, Pop?
Actually, a lot of people died on the guillotine back then. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was the 18th that got the guillotine.
I think you're thinking of Louis the 15th and his wife.
Yeah, 16th. That's the 16th. There with
and Anne Boleyn. She got the guillotine in that case.
So Anne Boleyn got beheaded by Henry VIII because she didn't form a
Henry
child.
VIII. Right, Henry VIII.
But
that's it.
That Marie Antoinette was married to Louis the 16th, and they were beheaded during the French Revolution.
Thank you.
I always thought it was the 18th, but there's too damn many of them. You know, they can't come up with their own names. They all have to just keep adding Roman numerals to their names.
Well, yeah, what's worse, Louis the 15th, 16th, 17th, or Billy Bob Joe, I think that's worse. Are the people that you can't even give their kids real names and say call them Billy Bob Joe and all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And Peter gave us the correct spelling of guillotine. And PvP says, "LOL, love parties, hate parties, depends on the perspective."
Yes, it does.
PvP says Anne Boleyn in England. Or Boleyn.
Close enough.
Yeah. To be safe, the French put anyone named Louis under the guillotine.
Poor screwy Louis.
Well, yeah, there's like 5,000 of them that fell to the guillotine or something like that. But anyhow,
just to let you know, the L is silent, so it's guillotine is how it's pronounced.
Yeah, same thing. All right,
Okay.
that's all the chats.
All
Oh,
right. So, I
oh,
remind you, everybody. Sorry. Go ahead.
Scurvy just said that was a joke. Yeah, we knew it was.
Okay. As a reminder, everybody, I'm getting ready to. We're giving our reviews, and I'm going to close the poll. If you haven't done so, please vote on which of these two episodes which review you preferred the most, and let us know, and I'll share that results before we close our stream. So, Gorilla, tell which episode did you think was best, and tell me about your channel.
I can relate a lot more to the Seer episode because I've had that experience where I could work, but where we could work like a machine together, and all that stuff, and read each other's minds and stuff. That second episode, don't get me wrong, it was very good, very funny, and all that, but I couldn't get. But I got to thinking, the whole time I was thinking, if they would just talked to the Howells, because they've known each other for years, a couple of years now, they just gone to go, hey, why did that get an invitation? Then they've known that there was some kind of mix-up, But no,
Right.
still good. But I prefer the first one because I can relate to it more.
Very cool. And tell us about your channel.
I got a bunch of shorts on there. Currently I do three watch parties a week. Justified on Wednesdays, which next week's Justified is 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I'm probably not gonna be ready for Gilligan's Island after that one there, and I know we got some other stuff going on next Wednesday, so
Right, everybody. I don't know if we mentioned it because I'm so tired. But yeah, there will be no Gilligan's Island next week, but we will be picking up a week after next.
yeah. Then on Saturdays I do Babylon 5. Then on Sunday we finally are starting to get our lists put together for September here, which this Sunday is Dead Poet Society for our Robin Williams month.
Nice.
Then we're Toy, and then Man of the Year. Then German hasn't picked up his other one yet. So then I also do Walton's review on Fridays. Then now I got the next two cringe stocks planned. I just got to pick dates for them. Which
Cool.
one will be Frankenhooker, which I got to talk to Gap on getting the time set up for that one. Then for Mikey, I got a very special surprise. For that comment saying I was fat, I got a very special one for Mikey there on, and he won't have the luxury of that one gray-haired lady saving the show for him.
Okay.
They really liked.
All right. And here we go. And I do agree with you, Gorilla. I prefer the first one. If I could do this without, well, I gotta keep my eyes open.
Yeah,
almost there. Okay, so I agree. I like the first one best, which is all the more I insist you please everybody watch it, because I know it really didn't make much sense the way we were kind of messing it up with the subtitles and everything. But the first episode is kind of clever, and it was funny. I do like both episodes, but I prefer the first one over the second. And I don't think, as far as I know right now, that I'll be doing a rumblings from the lab this week. But if I don't, we'll be back on Monday with another episode, a fantastic episode, I have to say, of Lost in Space. We're going to be doing War of the Robots. And then I'll be putting up a poll probably tomorrow night on which horror movie. I just need to think of a title for the poll of which horror movies that we can vote on. We had a blast last night. It was fun. And I think it'll be that way again next week. And like I said, no Gilligan's on next Wednesday, but we will pick it up in 2 weeks. And I really appreciate all the chat and you guys being here. And I'm going to show the poll now. Let's share everybody's votes. Don't tell me the poll's gone. The poll is gone. I can't believe it. Not again. You've got to be kidding me. I'm searching. The poll is gone. Disappeared. Am I crazy?
I'll do some research to see why that might be happening.
Yeah, but from what I've seen, it only happens to me.
Yeah, there might be a reason.
There it is. I found it. I apologize for the delay and the misunderstanding, everybody. Jeez. I had to search up and down the chat to find it. I don't know what's going on. I remember I had a delay last night too when I was going to share it. Okay, here we go. But I'm glad I found it. Okay. So here we go. Let me share that and show the results of that. I'm glad I didn't give up. I'm glad I kept looking. All right.
And hey, Cam, welcome.
Hello, Cam. Good to see you. Sorry, we're just getting ready to close shop. But I'm glad you came by to say hello. I hope you're doing well. So it looks like we got 8 votes. Which episode did you enjoy most? And it looks like 62% said Seer Gilligan, and 37% said love my skipper. I'm glad you guys still enjoyed the first one, even though I kind of messed it up. But I appreciate you voting. Yeah, like I said, it was just hard to, because I didn't think I didn't know it was going to happen. But the way it was written, reading the minds with the subtitles, it was very, very difficult to cover that episode without ruining it. But I appreciate that, everybody. And I want to once again thank everybody in the chat. Thank you all for stopping by. It was a great time. And I know I want to apologize. I know it's really late for a lot of you, especially you, Gorilla. It's past midnight for you.
Yeah. And holy crap, the chat took off here. So let's catch the chat up real quick, then we'll end it. PvP says the French Revolution was known as the Reign of Terror for good reason. Yeah? And PvP said, or not PvP, Scurvy here says, I had to say it was a joke because the French Revolution was a bit nuts, so it's not so far-fetched. Yeah, the French Revolution was very nuts, Slim. Yeah, this was before they turned and it's because of the French Revolution that their national flag became the white flag. Oh, and here's Cam said, great show, gents. Thanks, been listening. Thanks.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. And Scurvy here says, it's still going on in Quebec? And C4 here says, hi, Cap. And PvP says, yes, the next Lost in Space is a great one.
Absolutely, and everybody.
Cam says, howdy to PvP and Scurvy. Scurvy says, hi, Cam. PvP says, yes, it's going to vote now, but no poll. I can see the poll, says Scurvy. Sean says, I see it. PvP says, hi, Cam. Cam says, hi to Sean. Cam says, Seer was my vote. Nice. And Scurvy wants up. Seer Gilligan wins.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys, if you ever have trouble seeing the poll, you feel free to vote in the chat. Let us know. That's equally as important, and it always counts. And I appreciate you guys voting. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed yourselves tonight, consider hitting the like button. And if you're watching this on a rerun, anybody out there, consider, if you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel. And like I said, I want to really thank the chat immensely. I really love you guys, and it's so good to see you again. It really, truly is the highlight of my day. And thank you for your diligence and great work helping me out tonight, Gorilla.
Yep. Oh, I want to say, we got really good Walt's episode we were doing. If anybody wants to watch it and join us, we are doing the Chicken Thief from season 2. Really good episode.
Nice. Very cool. Okay. And with that, everybody, have a great night. Get some sleep. Drive safe tomorrow. And we will see you very soon. Thank you once again for being here.